How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses with your favorite show hosts, Ara Still.
Venorian.
And Volatile, and we're all three of us here to bring you those news and views on the games industry for the week, such as it was.
If the games industry would do anything other than over the last week.
Well, I mean, they've been doing a bunch of stuff. It's just all of it is sort of like low-key and obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, my feed this morning, for some reason, my feed was full of people talking about Bungie's new thing and how much of a disappointment it looks like it's going to be, and so on. Like, everything is just people talking about. And other thing is they've been talking that my feed was talking about this morning was the atrocious localization for Kodaka's new abortion that RSDL is going to feel honor bound to defend.
No, I haven't played it yet. I said I was going to hold off because Uchikoshi's involved.
Yeah, apparently he's taking a big runny dump all over it too. But
oh joy.
Isn't he the one who basically sees himself as Californian?
Yeah, functionally. He's bought into every piece of California politics.
Yeah, including being a pedophile. But the basically the gist of it is that all the news that I've seen about the games industry, such as I could see, has basically been terrible. Not that I saw very much of anything. I spent the entire week sick as a dog while simultaneously doing 10 plus hours at work every day trying to prepare for an audit. So the week is basically just a blur to me. I don't really have a good idea of anything that went on.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw. You can join us in the Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description under the archive on YouTube.
Yes, indeed.
Right. So, Vol doesn't have much of a week. I got some stuff I can spin on, some of which I think Fern will be interested in hearing for future considerations of purchasing in VR.
Yes.
We have whatever's Fern, your week.
It's been a messy one because, I'm also stuck in work hell still. We're trying to get more employees on because a bunch of them all just popped out of the woodwork saying, hey, we're going to work. Or we want to work now. But, yeah, it doesn't. You can't just say, okay, yeah, here you go. Here's the car, off you go.
But even if you did, it doesn't seem like it would help very much.
Generally, no. No.
What you guys need is consistency that does not seem to exist.
It does not.
It seems, no offense, but basically everybody you've ever employed seems to be a total fly-by-nighter.
We've had a few employees that have stuck around for a while, but they too eventually disappeared for various reasons.
Reasons which may or may not be given, because people seem to just disappear in your neck of the woods for no real reason.
That also happens a lot. I think the most legitimate one on that front was one guy ran off to get married and relocate his life, basically, so he's fine. The one who ended up locked up in the loony bin, though, not so much. And that's only in the last couple of years.
Not supposed to hire the kid of the lady who or gold or whatever.
No, thankfully, yeah, Karen's gold is notorious around town now. That story's gotten around.
I remember in my town when stuff could spread around like that.
Yeah. Also, I am not seeing an N64 picture. I am actually seeing quite a nice picture.
If you spin it so the light's on it,
you can see the where the pixels meet.
Oh, yep, there it is. I just had to kind of swing really low to see it.
Yeah, it goes full lattice mode, and you can see if the light's bloom is bouncing off of it, you can't see it, but any other angle, you can see the N64.
Yeah. It's okay from most angles for me until you really look at it.
I don't think you're actually meant to spend most of your game time sitting here staring at the picture.
But it's so interesting.
We were waiting on you to
We have an unnatural health fixation with silverware. Anywho, so yeah, as far as gaming this week went, what little time I did have, I did spend a bit of time messing around with Skyrim because I hit a game-breaking bug that kind of killed my save. Well, it wasn't game breaking. I could have kept playing, but for some reason the game had decided, you know what? I'm going to stick this graphical effect on now, and I'm never going to take it off. So essentially, I was playing the game in monochrome.
Yeah, I always use a cycle of many different saves on Bethesda games
Yeah,
because save corruption is so common in Bethesda games. And the
Yeah.
save corruption, one of the few things that mods are bad for is that mods dramatically increase the rate of your save corruption the more you have.
But
So
they do.
that's the games are the only games
Unfortunately,
I'll have like 100 different save files for. Normally I rotate like 5 or 10 per game, depending on the game. But for Bethesda games, nah, just keep hitting that make new save button.
yeah, everything should be a new save. If you run out of hard drive space, then delete some.
Delete some. But yeah, I've got manual save on a hand shortcut. So I can just wave my hand and manually save wherever I am. But this, I hadn't actually done that in a while, and this is just after I'd finished wrestling with the game because one mod swapped out a statue at one of the Daedric shrines, which caused the quest to crash for reasons. So once I figured that out, I was actually able to do the quest, and then got stuck with the bug.
Knowing the mod kit you're using, like, how big were the boobies on it?
Actually, it was what's the assassin god? I forget.
It's been a long ass time since I knew anything in
Sithis?
Not Sithis.
Sithis is the assassin god.
I mean the other
one.
The Night Mother?
No, the other one. Crap, what's her name now?
Marine's Dagon?
No.
That's murder.
That's the one with the instant kill dagger. If you've got an instant kill dagger,
is the one with the instant kill dagger.
Like, you need to be more clear, since there are no assassin gods in that pantheon, you need to be more clear about who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. There's a whole lot of, let's face it, most of the Daedric princes are murder hobos.
I mean, yeah.
But what are you trying to get at here? Which one are you trying to get at?
I'm trying to remember the name. Hang on.
Well, give us some traits. Give us some traits.
They can't decide on its gender, and it has a murder cult at the base of its hill. Where are we?
It's like every Daedric prince.
Boethia.
That's the cannibal god, isn't it?
No, this.
Which one's the cannibal one?
Isn't that the secrecy one?
Clavicus Vile is the trickery one.
Yeah, he's the charisma trickery one.
Yeah.
Boethia is like.
Boethia is the plotter. The secret plots of murder, assassination, treason.
Yeah, okay. Pulled
there
up the
you
list.
go. It's Boethia.
Okay. So how many boobies did it have?
0. It had moobies, if anything. Boethia, they can't decide if it's a male or female, and let's face it, with the Daedric princes, it doesn't really matter anyway, because they tend to change. But anyway, so I spent more time than I probably should have updating a bunch of mods and installing a bunch of new ones and hand shortcuts, and now I'm playing a full caster build, which in the early game is not a whole lot of fun, because the early game spells suck.
I looked at those mods for casting revamps and casting additions and ease of casting stuff, and all of it just read to me like, this will break the game, this will break the game even harder, this will break the game so hard that you can just delete the entire town of Whiterun.
Yes. So when it comes to doing mods with VR for Skyrim spellcasting, you've got all those spell revamps, ignore them. Don't use them.
Yeah.
The mod you want is Vrick, which is the hand shortcuts and scaling mod.
Yeah, the full body mod.
Yeah, because what that does is it allows you to assign actions to a gesture. Be it just you hold your stick and you move your hand up or down or whatever direction, and you can assign that to cast a spell or equip a spell. And say where you're playing a summoner build or you want your defensive buttons on or spells on hand, you can just use the gesture and have it cast the spell instead of going into the menus, equipping the spell, casting it, then swapping back to what you wanted to use at the best of times. So once you set that up, spell casting becomes so much more fluid and fun. It's the best way to play it. Yeah, there is one mod on there which is Confluence, I believe it's called. which is all about sucking energy out of stuff and casting from that. And that mod breaks. It's ridiculously overpowered. It's fun, but it is ridiculous. Spellcasting is only supposed to become completely ridiculous at higher levels.
Yeah, I just it was too overwhelming after the adventure of getting that stupid thing to install. It's still eating like 300 gigs of hard drive space.
Yeah, it's a chonker.
Well, the game ain't a chunk. The game's like not even 20.
No, the game itself is tiny, but the mods, I mean, most of them are texture mods that 2 up space, and those just, they're ridiculous.
Even just the basic fix mods are like...
Oh yeah, there's about 20 gigs of those.
More than that. It's like 50.
Yep.
It is incredible how bad they effed it up and modders had to fix it.
Yeah, although half of those mods, like, half of them are to fix the base game, and the other half are to fix things that other mods broke.
But yeah, well, this is the process of modders fix it, is you get a bunch of people who aren't in the same office working together on pet projects that and turn them out, and people install them and are like, well, we got to account for all these. Let's find some way to stitch them together. Hope we don't break yet another thing.
So yeah, I mean, it's a fun experience, but the whole thing is held together with, spit and happy thoughts.
Yeah.
Duct tape would be an improvement.
Everybody I know that plays Skyrim VR says an absolutely amazing experience once you get it working. But if for the uninitiated, the once you get it working asterisk is about 24 points in font bigger than the actual text itself, bolded and italicized and underlined.
Yeah, and it really depends on how many mods you want. If you're going to want just the base, as close to vanilla as possible experience, go for Foos. Just Foos. Foos Row for some quality of life stuff.
Yeah. Some of the stuff in Roast I would look like you would definitely that things like being able to take that casting mod you were talking about and assign system commands to it.
Vrick's part of Foos, isn't it?
It is, but the one that the mod that lets you assign system unique spells is in.
Okay. You can do that with Vrick as well, by the way.
Yeah, it just creates a spell for the system command and dumps it in your spellbook.
Yeah. Okay, so that's handy.
I don't think my game client is willing to communicate with Fern. It's not working.
Oh.
Check your invite.
I was able to invite Aristeal, but I could not. Like, I just get an error anytime I try and communicate with Fern.
Hang on, let me go into my invitation list. Well, it's there, so okay. I didn't get a pop-up for it. So okay, I guess that worked.
Now you can join.
Yeah. Did I actually get credit? So that leads into the other thing I did, or one of the other things I did, is Monster Hunter. I didn't play as much as I would have liked, and I played a bit. I went into the Oil Whale Basin and beat up the cephalopod in there and got that quest done. I went to the Scarlet Forest and beat up. Oh, I forget what was that creature actually was. The flappy fish.
The waterlogged.
And it let me do that. Yes. And then I went to the Windward Plains to do the Raid Owl there, and it crashed.
Yeah, you definitely need to get that one unlocked, because actually I think you got to beat all of high rank to fight the new Arch-Tempered.
I go get to rank 50.
Just rank 50?
Just rank 50.
I assume you have to have what you call it as well.
Yeah, well, I don't think rank 50 actually unlocks until you do it.
That might be true. I paid so little attention to hunter rank progression because it was so irrelevant going through in this game.
What do we hunting?
Yeah, I really feel like I had to work for it in World.
Yeah, World the progression was so much slower.
Yeah, just think of did you get that question by Firin?
Yep, and just taking its time. It also, if you recall, it took at least a month before you started seeing people reporting Hunter rank 100.
Yeah, I'm Hunter rank 107. The game is 4 weeks old, and I ain't exactly been no life in it. In fact, 3 of those weeks I only logged on to play with you guys.
It took me pretty much my entire run of playing the game to hit 100 in Rise. Like, I think that I hit 100 around the time Sunbreak came out.
Yep.
Yeah, it took about 1 week of making it my focus game, and then 3 sessions of playing with you guys to break 100. Circuit?
Yeah.
My circuit just didn't want to. Okay.
Yeah, they do that sometimes. You give them a command, you say, come, I want to route, and they just say, no.
Or you're gonna ruin my Schwiggity.
I am going to ruin your Swiggity Switty.
500 damage won't get.
There's 3 of us.
It's a chicken.
No, it's serious business.
Well, the reason this is not really that serious business. In fact, this quest that we are on is very not serious business because it is the quest to unlock the ability to have an Astringian stand on your head instead of a helmet.
That sounds like the
It
most
sounds like it
serious.
is completely serious business.
There seem to be a lot of fondness for these strange birds in the Monster Hunter community. I don't know anything about them, but
Coming down.
Yeah. But yeah, haven't gotten too far because in Skyrim with the new save because yeah, early game caster just sucks. The early game spells are just terrible. And because I'm going full caster at the moment, I'm because it's something I've never done before. It means I'm going robes as well because you kind of need robes in the early game until you get your enchanting up to a point where you can actually start making decent gear. Otherwise, you have no mana regen.
Oh, because heavy armor. Is that the penalty for it in that game? I forget.
Yeah, I think there was. But it's just you're going to be wanting to cast spells, and your native unbuffed mana regen is not great. So you need to really stock up on regen effects as well as cost reductions. But yeah, and I initially I
Goes
thought
off.
that the game was more stable than it was before,
Oh,
and then I went to Riften.
oh no. Done
It's
cursed.
fine as long as I don't fast travel there.
Oh, this quest is like 4-star, ain't it?
Oh yeah,
I didn't even look at the star rarity.
that tail came off super quick.
I'm like, this guy's hitting me for no damage.
well, yes, this is a quest for a vanity item. What do you expect?
Yeah.
A high rank super chicken. Only the greatest can wear the stupid thing on their head.
So that's anyway. Basically, that was my week. Is I just didn't have the drive, I guess, to play more Monster Hunter after it kept crashing. It's just
Yeah,
so much for this. Yeah, so much for the fixes.
much like how in World the loading screens could be a serious momentum technical issue have a nascent effect.
Yeah. Mind you, I say that, and then I went over to play Skyrim with mods, which
Yeah.
is yeah. Can I bring my barrel bombs?
I don't think we need barrel
No.
bombs for a 4-star Quimitress. We'll be fine, probably.
So yeah. The only other thing of note I really did this week is watched a little bit of anime, and I watched the Red Ranger gets sent to another world, which is really, really dumb. Basically, it is a standard for issue isekai, except the Red Power Ranger, who is literally powered by friendship, gets sent off to a fantasy world. So the rest of the world is running on fantasy tropes, and he's running on what are they, tokusatsu tropes, and it's just dumb, so very dumb.
Don't know
Well, I
why.
mean,
Especially
the ultimate fate of any overused genre is to descend into complete self parody.
Yeah. So everything is literally friendship powered.
Do you ever watch Fern Recreators?
I did. I loved Recreators. Actually, I should go watch Recreators again.
I should rewatch it at some.
Had a great
Recreators.
soundtrack. I wanted to buy
Yes.
it on Blu-ray, but it never got licensed by anybody. Presumably, they
Boo.
were just afraid of the consequences of treading on the wrong toes or something.
Yeah, because Recreators is fantastic, but it was criminally underrated at this time. Like it had like a week of hype, and that was it.
Old Small Crown.
Yeah, probably.
But when you mentioned the Red Ranger thing, I'm reminded of the magical girl that comes to the real world, and they have to tell her, "Yo, all your power, love, and friendship laser beams, you destroyed the city."
Yeah, I
Yeah.
felt like Recreators was a much better magical girl deconstruction than Mariko was. Mariko
Yeah.
was just an edgelord story.
Yeah, that magical girl was the most overpowered thing going, and frankly, if she hadn't self-destructed, then she probably would have become a big bad. But yeah, I got to go watch Recreators again. It was so good. And after Recreators, you got ReZero in the same vein. It's kind of a slower boil, and then you had Remonster. Do not watch Remonster.
Talk about ReZero later. And
Yeah,
Konosuba, though. Konosuba.
Konosuba. And that's actually kind of half the reason I don't think I really want to watch ReZero is the Isekai Quartet happened.
Yeah, and Konosuba is now sort of inextricably linked to it.
Incidentally, as I was searching for mods in to add to Skyrim, I came across a random Kazuma mod, so you can just dress up as Kazuma.
Kazuma.
Kazuma,
name.
the advocate for women's equality.
Right.
So yeah,
Now that we've done that quest once, you can at least preview it at the forge, the Amstrigian helmet, quote unquote.
oh, she's over there. Okay. We probably need to do it. What, at least once more to do.
We need to do it's 3 tickets for every vanity item, so you need to do the quest 3 times. But you can preview it at least. I'll go queue up another one. We might as well knock it out since it doesn't take
Might as
very long.
well. Where is it? So yeah, that's basically been my week. It's been a lot of just work, and what I haven't done, spent time doing at work. It's been cutting down trees because it is the end of the wet season here, which means the rain trees have grown, and the rain trees are a menace.
Rain
We live in
trees.
they do have a better name, but everyone just calls them rain trees because you give them the tiniest little bit of water and they will grow ridiculously fast.
How long is your wet season
So
last?
do they hang around? Do they hang around and stay like dry or something, and then they become verdant and when the water comes, or do they actually sprout?
I think they actually just sprout.
So you can't see them most of the year.
Nope.
And then they suddenly you wake up in the morning after a rain and there's trees.
There is suddenly trees, yes. And yeah, because of how fast they grow, if you leave them go for a week or two, suddenly you're dealing with a 2-3 meter tall tree. They are ridiculous. Those things.
Hey, you should do like what you did with the gum trees and sell them to California.
We should do that.
Yeah,
They got heaps of desert, don't they?
California doesn't, but these days you can probably hawk them to Arizona.
Arizona won't want them either because they're a weed.
Arizona will take any form of green.
They don't have a whole lot of green, admittedly.
Like, for those that have never been to Arizona, it is the place where the Wild West is always set. And although there are now cities on top of it, it's still just a big desert. Yes, Wicked.
Oh, okay. I was going to do the Swiggy Switty this time, but nah, never mind.
Houston.
So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for this week. It's been a very blur week. Couldn't even enjoy people just poking fun at the games industry this week because everything's just been so dumb.
Been dumb a lot lately.
It has. Especially if you're trying to keep tabs of what's going on with the Switch 2, there is so much
Stupid.
just stupid. So much butthurt out there. And there's a lot of people who are just going on and on and on
down.
about things that have been proven false. So instead of actually complaining about the things that are big problems, like the price of games, they're carrying on about how physical games are going away still.
Ball beat me to the tail wound somehow in the middle of a buzzsaw. Or tail came off. Oh, nope, there's another one.
Excuse me, could you not trigger my counterattack? I mean, it worked out, but seriously.
Oh, you mean me? No.
Yeah, you.
No, my
Certainly, I could just perfect guard off you and spam. That's also a thing I could do.
Yeah, my dual blades are now much longer than they used to be. I don't actually know if their hitbox is bigger, but I like to think they are. Makes it funnier.
Yeah, they're probably not, but you know what? We're just going to say they are.
It might matter. Would not be the dumbest thing that mattered in the history of Monster Hunter. Back on the ground.
Would you, Sacred, please stop doing the get down, Mr. President thing for the Squimitress?
No.
That was
Squimitress had a bad time.
That was a very bad time for that poor fire chicken.
It's all in the name of the Amstrigian.
Still have the Carver bonus from last week. When me and Vol were doing Zoshia.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I'm actually glad because when I crashed out last week, I still got credit for the Zoshia kill. So that was nice, at least. I didn't get materials for it, but I got credit. Which is fine, because I don't think I need anything on the Zoshia set.
Lance, I don't know.
Squimitress didn't even have a chance to attack me, much less hit me.
He didn't have a chance to attack, period.
No, he really didn't.
He was kind of stuck.
Oh, every guard I did, or every guard counter or perfect guard counter I did off that was from Ari, not from the Chemistries. We just bullied that poor bird.
Yeah, he just kept getting wounded, and I just kept popping him and accidentally triggering Firin's guard counter.
Well, we're fixing to do it again because we only need one more to get the Amstrigian.
Yep. Let's do that.
What is this whole everybody was saying that this whole diva thing where she goes up and sings at dusk and dawn is a reference to something in other Monster Hunter game, earlier Monster Hunter games. Do you know anything about it?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Hang on, before we go, do we have to go over here to watch her?
You said that.
No, it's, you can't make it happen.
She's singing right
Oh,
now.
she's up there. Yeah, just sit at the table to get the buff, do you?
You have to watch her to.
Yeah, you have to sit and watch for quite a long time to the end of the song, and it's a long song. It's like a full-length song.
Yeah, it's
so
like
it's something that you do. Something that you do when you've got time, not if you're in a hurry to do anything. But I
Like
needed to
bully a
restock my
chicken.
ammunition for some reason because I just kept using heaps of ammo on the chicken for no reason.
It really needed to die.
I wonder what these load times are like for people who are playing on the consoles.
Must be a trip. I had this thing on
Yeah.
my M2 that my OS is on. It still feels like it's quite long. I would hate to have this thing. Could you imagine installing this game on traditional HDD?
Oh no.
Or
Well,
Yeah,
it wasn't like the whole selling point of the PS5 was that they had some like proprietary ultra fast SSD technology.
maybe?
I remember that
I-
was what they were talking about when they made the hardware announcements way back when.
It's possible they announced that. It's also possible I just didn't believe them. So out.
Yeah, that's most likely.
Very confused. Oh,
Oh my! I've just been letting mine go wherever, and I do not know where it is going.
I saw mine start to get confused and just assuming direct control.
Wow, that phrase brings back some memories.
Don't adjust.
Yeah, back when a franchise wasn't dead yet. Murdered in a writing room.
There are only three
only
Mass Effect
two.
games.
They're only 2.5.
2.5, yeah. 3 was fantastic until the ending.
I don't even remember if I made it all the way through.
I did finish them, for better or for worse.
Toppled.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, you must have toppled him with the leg hit.
Oh yeah, it might have been it.
I think I
So
assumed you
normally
could
I
do
didn't
that,
think.
but didn't never think to experiment and try. I didn't have a way to.
Well, yeah, I'd never actually seen that happen before because normally when it's mounted, you're doing less damage.
Well, it is level
Is that
4.
just
A level 4
we're just
package,
bullying
right?
the chicken that hard?
Level 4 chicken, so it does not have much health and presumably.
Yeah.
Keep missing because it keeps dodging because Ari will hit it so hard that it flies off to one side or whatever, making all my shots miss.
Probably can't get another leg topple. Got it a little. Try.
There you go. Nicely by the sword.
That wound up fast. Another one. Oh, except the what you call it's going to get president for him.
Why am I surrounded by random avians?
All right, tail. I guess it's super critical that I carve that Kumatra's tail.
Hey, I got a wyvern gem.
Nice.
Not as big in this game as it was in World.
Yeah, though you eventually reached a point in World where they just stopped mattering.
Well, wyvern gems in particular in World, I always had a problem with. The basic
Yeah.
wyvern
Because
gem.
they dropped from everything, but not ever.
Yeah, they had a super low drop rate, but a huge pool of monsters they dropped from. The other problem was all that huge pool of monsters was all like the mid tier monsters. I don't know why I just murdered poor little herbivores that they deserve.
Raw meat.
Herb bonus. think that's the one. I got here just in time to see it die.
I waited, and then I got bored.
So yeah, anything else? I guess we'll cover what's in Ball's what Ball's got.
Ball was dying
I-
all week, so
I had a really bad week for a whole raft of reasons. Basically, it's just a haze of me attempting to prepare for an audit while
Another one?
so sick that I couldn't. Well, it's only once per year, but this is a really big one.
Right.
Which is going to be when I first thing next week. On depending on which calendar you use, Holy Week is a bit different. On some calendars, Tuesday is Fig Tuesday, and on other calendars, it's Fig Monday, Temple Tuesday. But regardless, it's Easter week.
Yes.
That they decided to audit us. I don't know why. That seems asinine, but it is what they decided to do, and them's the government.
Them's the government.
So
They don't care.
yeah, that's what we're stuck with anyway. Sucks balls. But as a result, my week is just kind of a blurry haze, and I don't have a good idea of what really went on, like at all. I'm kind of confused about what happened during the week. I don't actually remember. Like, normally, most of the gaming I get done before the show, I get done on the day after we do the show. But because that was sort of blotted out by illness, I don't actually remember anything that I did.
Didn't help the day after the show we were playing Monster Hunter, and I remembered I had to start up the next morning.
Yeah, and then you dropped out because you realized that you had to be on site in like 6 hours or something.
Yeah, it was
But
like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. The crafting for the Amsterdam helmet. There's not a helmet there. It's just a bird sitting on the top of the mannequin. That's great. Create bird.
Need your guardians have a hammer.
Unga bunga.
it's like this slab of metal gets turned into a bird somehow.
Yes. I do not have a Rarity 7 blast weapon. That's annoying. I got Rarity 6
Need one?
Gravio Spear, but beyond that, it's going to be going for the what's the man weapon?
Using regular or
It's,
gun lance?
Regular.
So
Gunland's like
let's see. I talked about Genshin last week, so I don't know which. Right. I got to play through Figure's story. That was the thing that I hadn't done. That Ari said we would not talk about because I hadn't done it at the time last week, and I did that. And I distinctly remember enjoying it very much, but then the illness kind of blasted the specifics of the memories out of my head immediately afterwards.
Oh, so like the situation
So-
I was in with the chapter 4 of the main story.
I don't know. I don't remember what you were doing with chapter 4 of the main story, but I distinctly remember liking it very much. But now I have no fine details left. It's just all a haze of pain and phlegm.
This is a scenario where the YouTube rewatch is probably okay.
Well, you don't need to for ZZZ.
That's true. You can't just go watch it in game.
Yeah, they just let you redo that stuff if you want to do that stuff. But I would like to talk about it, and I remember liking it, and like I think my feeling on the matter was that I liked. I remember having a distinct feeling that, oh, I'm glad they didn't just make her a girl boss. She's actually quite vulnerable, and the sort of the closeness shared between Trigger and Python is sort of explained by this, because they don't act like business partners the way they do with a lot of other characters, but there's a certain amount of emotional closeness between them. But I just don't remember the specifics of anything that happened.
Yeah. It's I particularly liked its prequel nature, and going back and showing Foxy's relationship with before the main game. And I liked that it wasn't chopped up into sections uh, as explicitly inside of the episode. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thought the it told its little story with Trigger, and ran through her history, and I thought the villain was really good. I don't think it dropped the ball anywhere really. I just really enjoyed it from the start. And that did not sell Trigger on me. I was going to skip Trigger. It was her character trailer that sold it to me. And character trailers are usually the thing that does not do anything for the Ho-Yo games. But I couldn't get over Trigger telling the little girl that it was the bear driving and making Soldier 11 pretend to be the bear. The intercom.
Yeah, I was already sold on her before that. Like, I really liked her role in the main story, and I liked what you could see, the glimpses of her characterization in that scenario, and I feel like it was built on really well by her character story about how, like, her initial appearance is, oh well, she's just got all of the stereotypical traits of the cold sniper, right? But then you see glimpses of the fact that she's actually a very warm and sensitive person behind the assumed exterior in the story with Anby. And then in her own story, you sort of get an explanation for who she really is as a person. Unfortunately, I don't remember anything about it other than the feelings associated with it. But the fact that I can remember the feelings associated with it speaks well of it in its own way.
Also, GIF I posted in live show chat is an image that sticks with me as the best moment in any character trailer ever. I want to fight the baddies too. Okay.
But yeah, Trigger as a character is an absolute darling, and anybody should like her basically.
Get that girl a husband stat.
But yeah, so I remember that part. I remember that it happened. I don't remember anything much about it. But yeah, using her in practice has been. She is not as efficient at short-term farming. She slows my teams down, but everything above the really short cycle farming, she has made much more efficient. Like, I posted in the whatchamacallit, the mobile games channel, my finish for my first attempt, first and only, because I probably won't bother to go back to it, of Typhon in Deadly Assault, and compared to me not being able to complete it with more than 1 star, she completely obliterated it.
Oh,
like,
and
the goal was 20,000 points, and I got 40,000 on my first attempt. And this is me, who is complete clown car at action games.
And she comes with a clang stun on top of that, so she's built to help with Typhon. Or a clang swap parry. Yellow flash thing where she comes in and smacks it.
Is anybody who with a melee weapon, and she counts because her rifle has a big blade along it. But so it's defensive assist versus evasive assist. You need defensive assists for Typhon. And at the time when I was originally attempting, I only had 1 defensive assist available. But now I've got her, then she can basically just tag in and out with Anby and clear that relatively effortlessly. But yeah, I enjoy her as a character. As far as off-field supports go, I think that they're onto a good thing there with that design, and rumor has it that's the direction that they're planning to go for off-field supports in general. Is to have that type of gameplay. I think that she could do with a little bit more on-field stuff to be done. Like, I feel like a lot of characters, like Astra, for instance, I would like to see the on-field style that you get to taste occasionally when they do special events. I feel like it would be nice to have that as something accessible a bit more often.
Like
But
a
I
less
sort of
powerful
understand
version
why
of
they.
her laser beam built into her core kit.
Yeah, because my sort of grand hope is always going to be that the game matures into multiplayer. Because the thing a lot of people don't realize is that ZZZ was a multiplayer game with co-op the same style as Genshin in closed beta, and they just removed it when they launched the game.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was a netcode problem or a server problem or what, but they just removed it. And I've always been hoping that it will get back there. But ultimately, what that means is that somebody has to play Astra, and I don't want that person to just sit there pressing the square button occasionally. So, because it'll probably end up being me because I can't do action combat. So I'd like for it to do something. That would be great.
I mean, I can play a DPS that get away without Astra.
But
And Fur can play the wolf.
yeah,
You got the wolf.
I do have the move.
Yeah, so
Want it done?
I think I've enjoyed using Trigger. The occasionally it's sort of a little bit hard to work out what her role should be at any given point in time, and I feel like you reach her 80-20 point almost effortlessly,
Yeah.
where you get 80% of the performance for 20% of the effort. You get there. It's more like you get 85 to 90% of the performance for about 5% of the effort. But to maximize that last bit is probably quite a challenge.
Yeah.
So the people who want to really make her pay off for like the speed run times and that, they're going to have to work pretty hard to get there, I think.
Yeah, because if you want to get 85 to 90% of her value, all you got to do is press and hold there for 4 attacks, and she'll auto dodge the first hit that comes at her while she's doing that anyway, and give you the free tag. And that's most of her kit. If you really want to maximize her, though, the two things that go into it are: when do you swap her in to use her EX skill for the damage? You have to put her in at the right time in the main character. Number 2, have to weave her off-field attacks in a way alongside the attacks you use your main character with, so that the internal cooldowns of the basic attacks are running when you press the EX special attack, so that you can have her do both variants of her off-field attack in quick sequence. That is much of a muchness for everything else.
I'm quite happy at the 80% level. Yeah, I'm happy at the 80% level. Thanks so very much. Like I pulled on her not because I want to be super meta optimal. I pulled on her because I really liked her as a character.
Yeah, you can get to the top floor of the skyscraper in her skill floors, but roof access is locked behind a padlock, and it's going to take some work to bust that down and get on the roof.
Yeah, like she's like probably the most waifuable character in the game so far, unless you really like Autistic Miyabi. I do really like Autistic Miyabi. She is kind of hilarious. But in fact, pretty much everywhere else that she appears in the story as a side character, she's been spacing out and she's just sort of standing there and has been dragged into some ridiculous situation because mentally she's checked out.
As a fan of crazy anime bitches, there are plenty to pick from of varied types of crazy and insane. From the autism end to the money end to the Bernice end. You got good pickings if you like your crazy ladies.
But anyway, that was that. As far as Star Rail goes, I've started the main story, but I didn't want to try and engage with it when I realized that the illness was just blasting memory out of my head. I didn't want to play it because the whole reason I play that story is because I love picking into the fine details and reading the lore and trying to speculate about where the story is going and so on. Like, that's part of what I find entertaining about it. But if I try to engage with that when my brain was full of cotton wool, I would not get anything out of it.
Yeah,
So I
there-
basically deferred it.
there's a whole lot of setup stuff for later in the arc that goes on in this chapter. A whole lot of not new term, clarified terminology, and a whole lot of scenarios that happen that you kind of need at least 50% of your brain turned on for.
Well, I mean, the thing is that I also needed access to my memory because the fun of this sort of thing is comparing what your speculations were to what is actually going on. From what I have done of the story so far, my speculations have been like 98% bang on target. But this seems to be a heckin' chonker of a chapter because I spent when I started it, I spent quite a while playing, but I still don't feel like I've made it very far through the total. I spent a lot of time watching people argue about things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think it's approaching 7 hours
I mean,
of cutscenes.
I'm here for it. Like, I love JRPGs, and I don't care about the fact that I spend a lot of time staring at characters discussing things because I'm playing it to find out what the characters think about things and to find out what their agendas are and their intrigues are and so on. And that's the whole point. It's basically the genre is just a visual novel with a bit of extra gameplay tacked on. So I don't care about that thing that all of the people online apparently want to skip all of the dialogue for whatever reason. But yeah, it's looking good. I just I haven't had the time to sit down and play it because my mind is only sort of starting to come back today. I'm still quite sick, but the brain fog has cleared to some extent. Unfortunately, this is largely because the illness has migrated from my head to my lungs. So I keep having to run to the bathroom to spit out strange objects. But
Ew.
yeah, it is.
Apparently, this is a symptom that's been shared by everybody in my workplace, sort of thing.
It is a chonker of a story patch in terms of raw story there in length. You got a lot to chew. If I didn't have as open a week as I did, I wouldn't have got through it.
Yeah, but that's great. The one thing that I didn't need my brain to do was play Star Rail World.
Oh goodness,
The anniversary game.
I wondered why your number was always a factor of 10 bigger than me.
Because because it requires no brain power, right? So it was literally the only thing I was capable of doing all week. So I don't even know if I enjoyed it because I don't really remember. But but I was able to do it. Like when all you have is a hammer, the thing that you're going to be most effective at is nails. And eventually, when you blunder around long enough, you'll find something that actually is a nail. And when you hit it with the hammer, it'll work. So yeah, I played Star Rail World because that was all I could do. Which, as far as I can remember, is more or less a glorified cookie clicker style game.
Yeah, it's.
But I was playing it in a haze. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, I was like, man, I like the board game better last time. But I'm sitting here at the end of every day when you complete your 2-day sessions, you see how much your friends have contributed, and I'm like, oh, I'm ahead of everybody on my friends list except for Ball, who's a factor of 10 higher than me. And this has remained consistent throughout the entire week.
Today when I checked, I was 20 times higher than you.
I don't know if I've done today's yet.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've hit the diminishing returns point though, so you'll catch up.
Oh, right around the mid 500s in levels, it gets way harder to level up your dudes.
Yeah, and there's basically nothing coming down the pike to help you. So
and
you can't get any more globals. So
it's all just OCD at that point too. Well, aside from the research points that are you jump up to 99 ranks in the last talent.
You basically can't force those to appear. So
you just gotta.
There's no way to provoke them. You just have got to hope that they come down the pipe somehow. But yeah, I did that. I funneled most of my spare bits and pieces to Aristeel to get him moving along.
I stole like 3 memory cards from you. That's what it would let me take, and I gave a bunch to people on my friends list. Like I've just added back when I was still new. I would just borrow random people's crap, but let them stay on my friends list. because support money is support money. They occasionally borrow something I've got up, especially lately. I don't know which character I'm borrowing.
Yeah, I don't know who's borrowing what from me because I haven't updated my list in a while. I probably would get a lot more bites if I put Tribby and Castoris up there, but I don't know what Aristeel's using, and basically I'm relying on that constant flow of credits.
Yeah, I steal your Herda sticker with Jade when I put my pants on in the morning.
It is an
Or-
efficient farm team.
Yeah, I'll just let it run on auto.
So I pulled Castoris, and unlike Aristeel, I had to go to hard pity for her. I have not used her much though, because I haven't done memory of. I didn't backlog pure fiction because I was able to get through it, and I haven't attempted memory of chaos yet this cycle, so I haven't used her yet. Really, she is not very suitable for adventuring because
No,
in those short fights you're going to end up like dripping blood from every orifice as you wander along, barely alive at all times.
you will get
Delicious.
you will get to shoot to whoop on the dragon, but you will not get to boom. Also, Fern put up a quest.
Yes. Gonna go beat this
Oh,
thing and hopefully not crash again.
I've been staring at the grill, staring into the flames, as is traditional.
I've been trying
Yes.
to run along the figure eights of the dragon. We got tiles here.
Also,
Ah.
I need to farm Gravios because I actually looked at Gravios' weapon. It doesn't need to be rarity 7. It's that good.
Base damage a lot in this game. Oh,
Yep.
you're
Right,
already.
there's
3 levels of guard on it.
there's an option somewhere to normalize base damage. I've been meaning to turn it on. Where is it? Because I remember somebody mentioning this online, but I don't know where the setting is. I'll look for it later.
Oh, it's somewhere online too, and I keep forgetting.
Yeah, it's a setting. I don't think Monster Hunter has had it previously. I could be wrong, but it's a setting that normalizes all of the weapon damage, so the motion values aren't included. So weapons become directly comparable to each other.
Previously, it was without busting out the spreadsheet. There's no way to tell what a dual damage is.
But so yeah, I have not used Caztor much because she's not suitable for adventuring. I tried using her for adventuring anyway, just because. But yeah,
I did too.
the thing with Caztor is that there are basically almost no characters in the game suited to supporting her, other than arguably Mighty. Which means that you spend a lot of time playing mix and match with your team, which is a good thing in its own way.
Yeah, most characters will have like half of their kit work with her, or have an element of their character that works with her if they're applicable at all. But you won't get the full benefit. Like it's not like the Aglaia situation with Wobo, where you want big burst healing that she does to keep you alive, and the energy regen, and the attack
with
boost.
Aglaia, like there's a very obvious optimal team. It's like, oh well, if you have this particular attribute and this particular attribute and this particular attribute, and you combine them all together, you're going to have really good supports. On the other hand, doesn't really work like with Caztor. Like most people say, oh, well, Tribby's obviously the best support for her. Yeah, but Tribby's most of Tribby's personal damage and a lot of her kit is her personal damage comes from using ultimates, but Caztor doesn't want to constantly have to cycle summoning her dragon. She wants to actually use the dragon. So unlike other eruditions in that where you are trying to use your ult as often as possible, and Tribby can take advantage of that if she can keep cycling her ult as well. Oh my goodness, Radiant is frozen midair for me.
It did for me for a second there too, and then
Yeah.
But
It's been doing some janky things for me as well.
With Caztor, like she procs Tribby's damage by summoning her dragon, not by using her dragon. So she just doesn't really. She's not like built around cycling her ult repeatedly like some other characters are. Similarly, Ryan doesn't gain any benefit from break. Basically, that's not her thing. Robin doesn't gain any benefit from a lot of the attack stuff. Sunday, generally speaking, if you're trying to optimize Castoris, Sunday's effect on moving up is more of a hindrance than a help in a lot of ways. Like, there's just a lot of aspects of Castoris that are incredibly niche and incredibly specific. And so, oh my goodness, the tail's in the ground. Basically, it's kind of difficult to get everything out of Castoris using the current suite of characters. So it's like sort of got to work out, okay, so for the given challenge, let's say I need 2 teams, then what I should be attempting to do is work out which side is more difficult, what aspect of my support suite will make that side easier to do, and how can I arrange my supports in such a way as to benefit the challenge overall? Because Castoris is probably going to be the one to lose out, but if her side is the hardest, then, well, you would put Tribby over there, because that side is also going to be weak against Quantum, and Tribby is the strongest support for Castoris in terms of improving her output in a single unit. But if otherwise, well, Sunday's not great for Castoris, but maybe I want to use Sunday Remembrance Trailblazer, who might be sub-premium as supports go for other characters, but they're going to work reasonably well with her because everybody only gets half their kit anyway. So we can put them profitably with her and save the more premium ones for the other team because the other side is harder. So she's a very powerful character in her own right, but because she's so inadequately supported by the current suite of supports, I think that that's actually a really good opportunity to add strategic thinking to the process of team building, because the Castoris team could look like practically anything. It's just a matter of, well, how are you going to prioritize the use of your Harmony characters?
The other thing is, because she is a tails off, by the way. Because her gimmick is HP manipulation, makes it a lot freer. The main support you pick, basically anybody that heals. I'm getting those up.
Where's the tail?
It's in front of its face.
Underneath the icon. Yeah. If I stand in front of its face to carve the tail, will I get eaten?
I just got laser beam trying to do that.
He won't take too kindly to it.
What have you broken other than the tail? Okay. If you'd stop running away, maybe I would shoot at him a bit. Actually, I need to change gun. I've got my tail cutting gun on.
I have blinded him. Carver going.
Okay. Stop dying.
Where do you think you're going?
That's all right. He can go away from it so we can get his tail.
Yeah, so she looks like an interesting character to use, but a character who it's not very clear what the optimal path for maximizing her looks like. And a lot of the upcoming characters don't really look like they're going to support her in any direct way, which I think is interesting because they've sort of aggressively capitalized on obvious synergies in the past. And I don't really think that that's evident here. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, obviously Hyacine's going to be an ideal support for her. But, well, if I look at Hyacine's kit as it exists in closed beta, she's kind of imperfect, and I would argue that Gallagher might actually be better as a sustain than Hyacine is for specifically the use case of Castoris teams. That could change because maybe that is their intention with Hyacinth's kit, and it just needs to be tuned in closed beta. But as things currently stand, well, Hyacinth's healing pace is just not really that fast. So it's sort of hard to say whether or not she's really going to be all that optimal in practice. So yeah, I think as a strategic question, Caztor is particularly interesting, especially compared to a lot of other characters who the use cases are all very obvious from the outset. Like when Acheron launched, there was basically, two Acheron teams that existed, and which one you used depended on whether or not you had Silverwolf, and that was it.
Yeah,
And that's definitely not the case here.
I can make Wowo work because overhealing counts. For that matter, you could probably make it.
Yeah, but the thing is, even though overhealing counts, like
Whoops.
to some extent, like Wowo is also like a lot of her, call it item budget for her kit is spent on energy regen.
Yeah, and you don't get any of that with her. Oh, that poor chicken.
So, oh boy, chicken, you okay there, buddy?
No.
Chicken is not having a good day today. That horn's broken.
Is it just one head break? You can't break the other horn?
I think it's only one head break. I've only managed to ever break.
You're running away. But yeah, I think it's strategically interesting. I am sympathetic to the doomsaying about the global passive thing. I'm sympathetic to it. It doesn't mean I think that the world actually has ended, because if they decide that they're going to do this, like
That chicken's
once
really
per...
not having a good day. Lightning just broke his
By
tail.
lightning.
Oh my goodness. If they decide that they're going to do that, like we're on like 3.x now, right? Like if they do it, and if they don't do it again until 6.x, I think we'll probably be all right.
Yeah,
I think it's still a bad idea. I just don't think it's independently of everything else. I don't think it's the end of the game. I don't think that's it is like end of service speedrun tactics, but you don't have to keep running in that direction. And
Yeah.
the reception was incredibly bad. And I honestly don't think that they are going to make a special amount of money off of it. I think that it's more likely the logic that they had with Acheron, where they're just like, this sounds like a really cool idea, let's just do it without thinking about the consequences. That you remember them saying in their whatchamacallit?
I've referenced
The interview?
that before because it was so on the nose the way they said it.
I mean, to a certain extent, I kind of
Right wing broken.
like at least you know what they're thinking, and what they're thinking is head empty, only cool thing now.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You just got to balance it at the end. It's fine.
For long-term design, and it can be quite bad because a lot of these things are very binary. But yeah, I don't think it was a good idea, but it's a done dealy now. They don't have to keep doing the same thing again. They can, in theory, learn a lesson from this. Oh my goodness, Radar, you are such a spaz. I couldn't work out where he was going.
I don't think he knew either. Well, he did now.
That poor chicken.
Poor chicken.
3,300 damage, radar lightning blasted the face, and had his tail broken by fucking.
Go home, chicken.
Yeah.
Go back to bed. It's not worth it.
Yeah, bolt gem.
So I think that they can pull out of the tailspin. I think that HSR just happens to be occupying the. A long time ago, there used to be a nickname for Genshin, which was Complain Impact, and it was because it didn't matter what the devs did, people would only complain about it. And HSR has sort of ascended to take on that crown now. But a lot of the decisions I feel like they've made, from what I've seen in the story so far, have been very good. Like the incorporation of Castor's Memoria animation as an embedded part of the storytelling, I thought was very effective. Like, it's a much better place to put it there than on some random YouTube channel. So, as far as storytelling decisions, they seem to be good. So far, the black screens that I've seen have only been to do the meanwhile elsewhere, or to omit, and now the characters are making small talk, but we've already been talking at you for the last hour, so we're not going to make you endure the small talk too, type of thing.
The most commonly used black screen that I'm okay with is we explained the events to so and so.
Yeah, because nobody wants to sit through that again, and they do that one all the time in Genshin as well.
Yeah, that one's never bothered me. But there was no Kirby opened the Century Gate, and this was a big, huge deal, but you don't get to see any of it.
Yeah, instead they have done exactly what I suggested, which was to just draw CGs for particular scenes and use them so people at least have something to look at during the black screen, otherwise black screen scenes.
Their animation work during the custom cutscenes is a lot better. I still want to see a little bit more dynamic camera work. That's
yeah, I definitely do, but you've got to think about the fact that this was probably already mostly done when they decided that they needed to improve the storytelling based on feedback. And so most of what they have done is obviously insertions. Like, oh, we will stick a picture card in here because it will enhance the storytelling, and we can do that relatively quickly without interfering with the rest of things. Developing a new animation library is a big project.
Yeah, I know.
It will probably require mocap people. It will probably require the rigging team to learn some new tech. Like, it's going to require a lot of work to do. And provided that they don't rest on their laurels, I'm quite happy with the progress that I've seen so far.
I'm not as concerned as a bunch of people are with the stock animation list for body types. Mostly want more dynamic camera angle cutscenes. Make it like Genshin's been doing.
Yes, it's just they've got a library of about 4 different cameras at this point that they just use over and over again. But we know that they can do better than that because we see them do it anytime it's pre-recorded, as opposed to an engine.
Yeah.
Like the scene where Anaxa heads to the meeting area, where they suddenly cut into the out of engine stuff, and the camera suddenly becomes more adventurous when Cypher does her transport doohickey. Then suddenly the camera becomes way more adventurous. Like, there's no reason, because all of those are rendered using the engine. And they're just polished up a little bit afterwards. There's no reason that you can't also apply those camera tricks in engine. Why not? You can do it. But it's going to take a bit of work, because they're not going to want to do it custom for every conversation. They'll probably only, even Genshin doesn't do that. What Genshin does do, however, is develop a library of, okay, so for this type of thing, you use this type of shot. The way you would learn in like, if you went to film school or whatever. Rather than, like, it feels like they are reverse engineering from movies how to do camera work in Genshin, and they just haven't started that because it's not for Star Rail, because it's not part of the skill set for storytelling. I mean, you can see this progression in other RPGs as well. Like, if you look at the use of camera in things in old RPGs, like if you look at what in FF10 versus FF13, like it's night and day, because in the meantime they learned the cinematography trick. But they just sort of, I as long as they keep making progress, I'm happy. I'm always happy to see progress. I don't need it to immediately switch to it's a perfect game now, or I quit playing. That's not what feedback is about. I wouldn't spend hours writing feedback if I didn't think that they could make progress. And if I expected it to just magically all happen, then I wouldn't bother either, because I know that's not going to happen. But pretty much everything that I have said in the feedback regarding storytelling has been taken on board in at least some respect, which means that there must be a lot of people saying similar things. But like a lot of things that I've said, I've like the next dev thing, they immediately say, "Oh, and we're doing this," and it's almost word for word something that I've said. So this must be really, really common complaints and feedback.
Yeah, they still haven't Bang Boo TV at Imaginarium Theater yet.
I'm starting to see the people. I'm starting to see the people who want Bang Boo TV back coming out of the woodwork. And they're like, "Oh, the game is losing its identity. It's just becoming more action gacha slop. The Bang Boo TV was really unique. We need to bring it back."
What identity?
Bang Boo TV was dreadful.
The game was not even a quarter of a year old when they made the decision to axe it.
It hadn't even developed its identity at that point.
And if nothing else, that was a really daring decision, and I respect them for making it, because you know that had to hurt probably multiple people. Were probably deeply hurt by that.
Especially Greg or Arpeggio Fault.
Yeah, the guy who just invested himself so thoroughly in all that. Now, I don't think that they should scrap the whole proxy side of things, and I'm sort of sympathetic to people's apprehension about that, especially with the developments to the story, which have allowed the proxy to enter the hollows without becoming immediately crippled. And the previews that have come out, I haven't actually watched the preview show yet. I haven't had time, but the fact that the proxy is going to train under one of the Void Hunters to be able to take care of themselves in a hollow, so eventually is almost certainly going to become a playable agent.
Yeah,
down the line. I mean, that I sort of understand the apprehension at that, because then it will break down the main character of this Hoyo game is a nerd in their mother's basement rather than an action hero.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, because the personalities in here are so strong with all the cast that even if Phaethon takes a direct role, there'll still be plenty of agents around doing stuff. And that part of their live stream, actually, I did watch somebody covering it in turbo speed mode. Not watch the live stream itself. Part of it was them talking about they don't want to abandon old characters. They want to keep.
Yeah, it's like you can smell the competition. The fires of competition have been lit ever since Star Rail came out and started eating Genshin's lunch by daring to do things that Genshin would never. And then Genshin started to realize that there's actually another game taking place now, a meta game between the different development teams. We need to just keep up, otherwise we will get our budget cut. And then ZZZ coming along, and then adding a multiplier to that and dragging both Genshin and Star Rail along in its wake. And so Star Rail's responded by, "Oh well, we're going to do what no other gacha does and update old characters to fit with the current power level." And ZZZ's like, no, you're not going to be the only guys who get to say that.
ZZZ's considering kit updates. Like that's beyond number tweaking.
No, they didn't say anything about number tweaking for HSA. They said they were going to update the characters generally. They're not going to. The thing is that they can't number tweak. Number tweaking wouldn't save any of the characters that they've said they're going to update. You couldn't do it. I'll be really disappointed if they backpedal and just do number updates for HSR, because that's not going to fix any of them. You can't update Blade's numbers enough to make him good.
Yeah, but the ZZ crew clarifying in the stream that it's still, because the English was shoddy on it, not 100% clear on everything in it, but they implied very heavily it was going to be character kit.
Well, there's according to the Chinese side, there's actually in their, you know how when you do journalistic or academic writing, there's things called style sheets, right? which tell you about this is the way you're supposed to phrase certain things when you have this particular meaning. Well, they've got that exists in the Chinese, and it doesn't exist for other languages. But there is a phrase that differentiates sort of trivial updates from systematic deep level updates to things, and they've always used the one that implies kit updates in the Chinese for the updating of characters. So there is good reason to believe that it's going to be a really thoroughgoing update. Like, you couldn't update Silverwolf's numbers in a way that is going to make her as good as an Axa. Because an Axa's current in the incarnation that they closed out beta with, that they presumably will go live with, an Axa is basically AoE Silverwolf. And there's no way that Silverwolf, as single target Silverwolf, is going to be able to draw a level with that. So that her kit has to change. There's no other way to update her.
Gotta add something.
I really
that ultimate or something.
Yeah, I really like Silverwolf as a character. Like, I suppose partly that's because I spent so much time with the version of Silverwolf in Honkai Impact. But I really like Silverwolf as a character, but I've never been able to pull the trigger on pulling for her because she's been so far deprecated out of relevance. So I'm kind of hoping that they make her really good so that I can justify pulling her out. But
she was on the short list when I first started the game of characters to pull for, but
at that time she was one of Acheron's strongest supporters.
Yeah, and she was, the meme team of Mahjong team wasn't totally dead yet.
Yeah. But I mean, well, you're basically going back that direction, aren't you? Because you put Sparkle with Caztor.
Yeah, my Sparkle has wound up with a colossal HP pool.
You could go like Sparkle and Lynx and Caztor and then get somebody else to support from the quantum side.
Yeah. At the moment, I've got Shoop the Whoop Dragon, Sparkle Sunday, and Wopo. I think Sunday and Sparkle might change with sub DPS.
Sparkle, I suppose the problem with Sparkle is that her skill point generation is basically useless to Caztor because she doesn't use skill points.
Yeah, and it's only a half turn advance, not a full one.
And Sunday also skill point consumption starts to dry out once he gets rolling.
Yeah.
So you really want to use somebody who's like super skill point hungry.
I guess the Mahjong Dream could be live. That team. Don't for Sparkle.
Anyway, we'll leave my week there. I will join your quest when I get back from the bar. Yeah, baby.
Come fight some Gormagala with us. So yeah, this is the unlock Hunter rank 40 roadblock Gormagala, by the way.
Darkveld.
Yep.
I think they cramped. But okay. So I guess we'll get started with my week. Talk about a game that I have wanted to talk about once I finished it. Because there's actually a lot of interesting things to say about it. That the development history for this game, there is a documentary series if I was curious enough to actually go dig it up. But I don't want to do that. It's very, very long. So I mentioned that I've been playing through the Asgar's Wrath games for the last month. Their experiment. I finished Asgar's Wrath 1 a little bit. And get the
that wasn't me. That's Fabius.
Oh, Fabius is mounted.
Fabius.
Yeah, the AI is on the head.
How dare he? Get his
Rude.
tail off.
Yeah, his tail's off.
Okay. I don't need to restock my slicing ammunition, then I'll come in.
So,
He'll break his horn.
also, you want to pop as many wounds as you can on this guy when they pop up, because that's
You can get it as quest rewards as well, but quest rewards aren't that predictable.
Yeah.
But
Oh, there he goes.
so I finished Edsgar's Wrath 1, and I came down on the side of I don't recommend it. Because
Yeah.
the game just it's too old, too pre-Alex World living. Like, there's just so many weird janky shoes with it. Performance is bad in certain levels, and there just ain't a whole lot there to merit going full dumb with it.
Oh, right. He doesn't want to go anywhere, does he?
Doesn't seem to.
Things. But yeah. So the sequel is quest only. This means that you have to play it natively on the Quest headset. So we'll start with the positives. The positives of Asgard's Wrath 2 are the game is much bigger. The world has got a lot more places to explore. It just, in general, feels better to generically run around the map. And
Oh, right. The tail card. Completely forgot about that.
carver skill on the tail. Double carver. 3 tails.
That's sorcery is what that is.
So weird that
Just
carver can
waiting for
proc
you
it.
guys.
I got roared off a circuit.
Right.
So the game is much more fun to just roam around in, explore, and play the video game with. The divine armor changes so that it actually get in the way of just progressing the game and stopping you midway, which is good because there's a ton of combat. And the first game had a ton of combat. Feels way better with the amount of combat, just because you don't get totally whenever you run into a combat encounter. The follower system has been reworked. You still have your animal friends that you their bipedal forms to help you in combat, but now they have a mount mode. Instead of having like 13 or whatever it was in the last game, they were functionally just puzzle pieces or puzzles in the environment that you would run up against.
Yep.
Now they have a mount mode because the maps are so big. So every follower can go into a secondary form, which is their normal animal form, and you can ride them and you can usually ride them as a mount. There's one exception to that. So the first follower you get is a panther, can run really fast and can go over quicksand without sinking into it. Enough on her feet, I guess. Then you got and she's fun to run around with if you just need to get around the map fast. She's the first mount you get. Then your next companion you get is a eagle that you can do a little side quest to help fix up, and once he's not sick anymore and feeling better, he doesn't have a mount mode. He can't just fly around the map. But what he does turn into is he just turns into his normal eagle self, which isn't a giant one like Panther is. And all characters have a grappling hook style something. The first character has a whip sword. The second one has the rubber chicken eel. And the third one can shoot an arrow out of their bow that acts as a grapple. That thankfully you can activate with the hand that's holding the bow, and you don't have to draw and stick it in there. Grapple point, grapple on. So hers is actually the easiest. Then the fourth one has a spirit necklace that he can take off and use as a shield, and you can press the trigger to make it go slack back into just a normal necklace and use that to grapple. And you can use your grapple on the eagle, and it'll start gliding with you hanging from it. You can use that to get around and go around places and solve puzzles in weird and fun ways, and that's all nice. The third one's mount form isn't particularly interesting. He's the most boring of the followers. His personality's fun. He's a monkey. Turns into a giant monkey you can ride around, but monkey form doesn't have anything special about it as a mount. And
Just monkey.
Yeah, just monkey. The fourth one's a hippo that lets you cross water easier and get across deep water at all. Then the last one is a boar that can run across any hazardous terrain except for deep water, and you mostly use him to get across lava.
Yeah,
because you can get across some lava pools without him if you're okay with taking the health damage. But generally speaking, you wanna not do that, especially when you're in a lava level for the chapter you get him, where everywhere has lava. So the followers are a lot of fun to move around the world with in their mount forms, and exploration is just in general more rewarding. And the puzzles are a lot better. They don't devolve into simple hit the key in the hole. There's usually some dynamic element to the puzzles, and all the characters have different puzzle solving tools, different types of puzzles they can solve. Really swap between them. Take any character into their story and use them, their world map, solve puzzles unique to that character. And a good example of this is the first character. He has a throwing axe that he has a sword, a shield, and a throwing axe. And the throwing axe, you can press the trigger when you throw it to arrest the axe's momentum and have it just spin in midair. Or if it's already latched into something, you can press the trigger and have it start spinning while it's stuck in something, and then drag your hand to have it move whatever it's stuck into. There are like switches on the wall with little mazes and puzzles you gotta solve. You gotta drag the axe around while doing other crap to make more of the path visible. And it's very cool. The second character's puzzle solving gimmick is her shield is also a bow. Well, it's a harp, but it doesn't shoot arrows like the third character's does. It instead, you strum on it, and you can rapid strum on it to turn it into a little machine gun.
Very Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Hang it down.
Or you can slow pull back on the harp to charge up the music notes that slowly accrue on it to do big shots with all of them that have slight homing on the targets. And these are but if you don't hold the trigger to activate damage mode, it's just a harp that you play, and you can use this to direct little sea critters all over the place and have them navigate little mazes that you have to clear paths for and figure out how to move them by adjusting the direction you're pointing the harp when you strum, and how to get them to move in a straight line. Like that's all very interesting with that character's puzzles that she has to solve. Third character has a whole bunch of different types of arrows she can shoot. She has three. Got the four if you count the grapple arrow. So you got the grapple arrow I mentioned before. That's doesn't do any damage. It's just for grappling. And You got the piercing arrow, which is a single arrow that pierces through targets. A bouncing arrow that die for that. Oh, up my carve. Why don't you?
Okay, he's dead. Stupid monkey.
And she has a split arrow, which can be upgraded to shoot up to 5 arrows at once. That will not go through armor or shields, but will home in on targets. So they're really good for taking care of light armored enemies or anything that doesn't have a shield. So that's a lot of fun. And the last character's big puzzle solving mechanic is his campaign is the least fleshed out, so he doesn't really have one. He kind of just gets a key that can open some dungeons. Oh, he does have one, but it's really underutilized outside of optional crap. His little beads that I mentioned before, you can put them in necklace mode and pull them horizontally to make a green portal and pull them vertically to make a purple portal. And you can throw weapons or shoot projectiles through the portals, or you can physically move between them. And you use this to solve a bunch of fun and interesting puzzles. So the puzzles are a lot better than they were in the last game, where it was find the animal-shaped key and stick it in the hole. If there's a windmill, summon the bird in the first game. Stuff like that. So, I enjoyed the follower system way better. All the characters' weapons, for the most part, feel good to use. The third character's shield she gets when she is a bow character that needs hands on the bow feels kind of redundant. For landmines, fine. You can throw the landmine out on the ground, have enemies run over it to trip them, or you can throw it at enemies for damage. Or you can shoot your various types of arrows at it after you unlock enough skill tree while it's on the ground. Have a special type of explosion that will have a lingering after effect. First character is pretty basic. His sword becomes a whip sword. But he's just sword and shield with a throwing axe. He's meant to get you used to the combat. Do not take the upgrade that lets you grab random objects with the whip sword, because otherwise you will never be able to grab onto anything you actually want to grab onto. You will just wind up grabbing random destructible crates. I respect after dumping like 40 skill points into that character just to get rid of that talent. But he's fairly straightforward. The other character has the rubber chicken eel, which is the sword usually, but the grapple portion with the spear is fun. Her little harp bow or harp shield is fun. Her third weapon is just a carpet, it's a jellyfish that you just throw on the ground and it shoots dudes. And it's not very interesting, but it's practical, good enough. Most of your gameplay is going to revolve around the harp bow and the rubber chicken eel. And the last character is the most waggly, obnoxious one. He's the only character I don't like playing. Yeah, because he has a staff, the beads that act as a shield in combat, and his head. He's a mummy. He's undead. So you can rip his head off and chuck it at enemies to have it possess enemies and make them fight for you for a bit. And you can drain it to get shield back, your divine protection meter, which drains before your shield. Or you can spend that divine protection meter to charge up his staff to fire projectiles, but it drains a lot of it. So you're not going to be able to do that very much, and not going to be able to do it on bosses. Not more than once or twice anyway. But so it really just evolves into staff waggling a lot with him, and running in and with your shield and just trying to parry as best you can and bopping around with that stick. He really doesn't have any other combat options. So his is the least fleshed out, and it's clear his was the part of the game that was near the end of development, because his map is the smallest, and there are 50 collectibles in every world map for all the characters you can find and break for a side quest. He only has 35.
Ah.
So
Is
yeah,
it just because he's so close to the end of the game, or is it just they
well
ran out of time again?
it looks like they just ran out of time again. But
Yeah.
each character does have a full, complete story to go through and map to. But yeah, they just and near the end, when you get to the end game and you're controlling your god form again, and finally going mano a mano with Loki, you can pick any of the characters' weapon loadouts to use in your god form. So you just pick the one that you liked the best. I wound up using the Elf Girl's bow set because I found it the most interesting.
So does it end better than the previous?
Yes, you actually go and it still ends on a cliffhanger, but it's a sequel hook, not a proper cliffhanger like the last one. The last game ends with Loki wins, and that's that. You this one you actually get to see go pay Loki back for what he did for you, and they have a big, super cinematic, proper final boss fight with him, and it's all. Each saga has its own boss now. The last characters is a little jank with the Anubis fight, but the other three are really good. Although they do recycle the third one for a killable boss, you'll need to kill times for upgrade materials later. The reduced version is a little bit unfortunate and ruins the memory of that boss a bit. But the first time you fight it, it's fun. And the first time you fight it's in the boss arena as the end of act boss. But the other two are totally unique. So
Alright.
that's the good. The game is generally put together well and fun to play. Upgrades are plentiful. A whole lot of fetch quests for the side quest type stuff, but given that the focus of the game is combat and exploration, that's expected. And it's just more rewarding for being, a pack rat that collects everything as you run and murders absolutely everything. And you will need to collect everything and murder absolutely everything if you want characters. So now on to the negatives. And this
Oh no.
because what I said before may sound like I'm about to give this game a glowing recommendation. It's instead getting a hesitant. A very hesitant. Remember how I said this thing, it has to run natively on the Switch itself? Or not the Switch,
Yes.
the Quest itself.
Zagogs.
Yeah. So, every time you boot the game up, we're going to stare at the title screen for a solid minute before it even starts compiling the shaders.
Oh no! Well, every time.
Every single time. And it's going to take another minute to compile the shaders and finally get you.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is
The goggles don't exactly have the highest inbuilt processing power.
The graphical fidelity does take a hit because the maps are so big. And as of the last few quest updates, that's not enough. Because if you reload a single character's map 2 times, the third character is fine. The fire area map has a zone divider because it's so big, it's split into 2 zones. So that one's fine. It does not have any shoes loading that map over and over again. You can reload that till the cows come home. Farming stuff. The first character's map is mostly fine. It will let you reload it over and over again, and you won't notice it until several reloads. The second and fourth character's map is pretty jank. It is not as big, so it doesn't have as many shoes, but you have significantly less reloads you're allowed to do. The second character's map, however, is so big with no loading zones that you will often run out of memory in the headset just loading it straight from the hub. And this means a hard crash.
Oh no.
Yeah. This is a pace killer.
That's a big problem.
That's a huge problem. But we're not done.
Oh no.
You also have another issue where there are several bugs in this game. And performance dips all over the place if certain triggers go off at wacky times. Like, there are world bosses that you need to farm for character upgrades. when you enter their zone, for 2 of them, you have to place bait on the ground to summon them. For one of them, it just shows up when you walk in the area. But all of them, when the boss fight is triggered, spawns a dome around you so you can't run away from it. You have to go up against the world boss if you trigger it. This loading zone can get just outright broken and get you trapped outside of the bubble and cause all kinds of performance issues the second that happens. You're better off saving, quitting, and just reloading the whole.
Yeah.
You can run off into the unrendered void when this bubbles up, and eventually it'll fix itself, but your performance will take a consistent hit until you restart the game.
Oh dear.
It is not good.
It sounds like they had kind of big ideas, just not the processing grunt behind it.
They
needed.
They did not have the processing skill nor the optimization chops. And
I think that that all that's getting the cart before the horse. I think the actual problem is they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because practically nobody does.
Yeah. So especially when it comes to native Quest hardware for VR, this crap is just people don't know how to use it. There are not enough people that have experimented with the technology, and I guarantee you the dumb thing is not optimized at all. So So we're stuck in a scenario where people just literally don't know what to do. They have no way to reference it or check anything. And this is made by the people that made the buggiest game on the Spyro the Dragon remaster trilogy. You remember the first two games were made by Toys for Bob or whoever it was. The third game, however, was made by Sub-Zero's, and that game had shoes out the wazoo. Sub-Zero's is the one that made these games. Now, Sub-Zero's is not a particularly competent company. And this shows in their lack of time management skills as you're going through the game, and their refusal to deviate from the design document, based on how much is obviously cut at the very last minute in both games.
Every Gravios looks like a gold crown Gravios to me.
They're also big and chunky.
Taking a nap.
Yep, nap time.
Oh, no, I got stepped on.
Can you please ask him to get his tail out of the wall?
Love to, but I'm currently being across the room. So, but we're not done. Because the biggest issue with this game is there are just random, totally game-breaking bugs that you can accidentally trigger. And they have built in a feature into the game to roll back the autosave for any profile several times. In case this happens.
Instead of fixing the bugs, they just...
Worse, if you don't realize you borked it and you've overwritten those saves, you have to re-download a cloud save from 7 hours ago and lose an entire day and a half of progress like I did. So, the one that I ran into, and this is apparently a common one if you are, going around and exploring, like, the game encourages you. Counter.
I tried to perfect guard that and got it wrong.
Trying to hit this guy's tail.
It is one of them tails.
But yeah. So the one I encountered was at the start of the fourth character's story. As you maybe want to do, experiment with a new character. Like, remember how I mentioned he can take his head off and throw it at people?
Yeah.
The head bugged out for me when I first put it on. And the head would not come off after I put it on, and there was a duplicate head in my inventory, and the game didn't know what to do with it. So I restarted the game in the middle of the tutorial. Do not do this. I didn't not know it was wigging out yet. So then I went off and I decided to run back to the start of the map after I finished the tutorial from where the cutscene was zooming through as we were coming into the underworld, and ran into another issue. That issue being, I mounted him, by the way. I'm gonna
Let's try and break his head, but he not breaking.
Gravios
He don't break.
have a wound. Back. Oh,
Also, he's very slobbery when poisoned. Like, super slobbery.
so yeah. What was I getting at with that? Right. So if you wait your head around you.
Ah, I triggered it. That was knock off my health. Oh, no. So you can perfect guard his laser beam, and you can advance through it. But you shouldn't.
No, I've seen people do it picture perfect. You can advance through it, and if you make contact with him, you can knock him out of it.
Yeah, I didn't get close enough for him for that.
Yeah,
I saw that big sail on the back of Anjanath come around the corner, and for a second, just a second, I thought Tsuyaku was here.
No, it's not our buddy. It's Anjanath, who is a jerk.
not best boy.
He's a very angry Anjanath.
All Anjanath's angry.
So yeah. I ran back to the start of that character's where the cutscene started, and it triggered the cutscene again after I'd already done the tutorial. This made it so that every time I died, that point onwards, or any time I went through a loading screen with that character, it would re-trigger that cutscene.
That's not good. That's really bad.
Yeah, the game was impossible to progress because of that, because I couldn't go anywhere that had a loading screen. And the only solution was roll back your save. And my rollback did not go back far enough to cover it. So I had to go to the cloud, which was my last cloud save, because my internet connection was toggling on and off while that thing was going. Connection session has been lost.
Yeah. I was thinking, yeah, it's serendipitous that you should mention.
And so
considering you just abandoned us.
Yeah, let's see if I can just... yeah. So I wound up having to completely redo a day and a half of playthrough because of this bug. So
honestly, nothing kills my momentum in a game more than that.
Yeah. So while I would love to give this game a glowing recommendation because there is a good game in there buried, there just are too many technical shoes with the dump make it recommendable. Like the hardware just ain't developed enough, and people aren't experienced enough with it. Something of that scale on it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but that just be the way it be.
Maybe if they port it over to the PC, fix up the issues, and let you just run it off through PC, that might be better.
I'm rather,
because it sounds like that what they want to do and what the Quest 3 at the current moment is capable of are just two completely different things.
Yeah, this was, well, the other one was a freebie with one of the quests, or with the Rift, first game. They gave you the first one and the second one for free with the Quest 3 before Arkham Shadow was out. So these were paid for completely by meta, and it's clear they just had way more budget than talent. And it's unfortunate, but because there are some good ideas in there, it just major technical issues that I can't do anything with. I want to recommend your game because I liked a lot of what I played. I thought your combat was really good, but just
Yeah.
I can't.
Sounds like, from what you said, this sounds like the first one is honestly a bit more stable, but
Yeah.
just jank because of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Whereas this is the opposite.
Well, kind of. The first one has technical shoes because it was made in an era where it was for the Rift, not the Quest. So it was for
Yeah.
PC VR out the gate. But it still has just weird, janky technical shoes all over the place that just make it a wacky, sometimes outright painful experience to go through. So yeah, that's the Asgard's Wrath situation. Also, one of the minigame characters in the hub, they couldn't resist. They gave them that revitiligo.
Why?
Essentially, the picture.
I know, but why do they? What is the current obsession with vitiligo? It's not even very common, is it?
No, it's incredibly rare. I've never seen somebody in real life with it. And usually if somebody has it, it's like a single spot on a small part of their body. I got my Gravios dead.
Nice.
Presumably turning somewhere. I don't... Squad lobby. Well, certainly won't be in the link party. Loading.
No, you have to resync.
Still in the link party.
Where have I got to go? I got to go back to the main camp and talk to Child.
When are you going to unlock? Are you at 41 yet?
No, I thought I was actually going to unlock 41 after the Gormagala, but apparently not.
Well, Aristiel has left the lobby.
Yeah, I'm just reloading the lobby after that just to be safe.
What's your main quest?
Now I've got to go talk to Small Child. Presumably he's going to say, "We are the same, go fight Arkveld again."
People are still memeing on that. Every time some person gets up to that part of the quest, they post on Twitter about how unbelievable it is.
It's just because of also the terrible timing of it, because how he's talking about how we are the same, we are heart, share a soul, or some crap like that. Then you come around the corner and here's Arkveld sitting on top of a pile of corpses. So I mean, you're still going to say you're the same kid?
You're gonna take credit for that?
Yeah. Where's your corpse pile, Child?
All right, Valrine, buy me the
Skull Throne. Come on. Wait, wrong universe. Never mind. So yeah, it's just a very off moment.
Yeah. Yeah, well, everything about the story is very off.
Yeah.
Like you can always hear everybody in the party doing a double take. It's like kids are retarded.
To be fair, he's what, 10, 12? I don't know.
That's what he is.
He's a bit thick, yes.
So to wrap up Asgard's Wrath stuff, very tentative. If you don't think the issues I mentioned are going to ruin it for you, try Asgard's Wrath 2. Barely goes on. Just skip Asgard's Wrath 1. But yeah, you cannot Google anything about these games because Google's algorithm for searching has gotten somehow even catastrophically worse lately. And while you will find a whole lot of news articles about Asgard's Wrath 2, you will find no answers, even with a Reddit tag stuck in your Google search. You have to go to the Discord.
Probably their push for AI. So the one that tells you to eat glue.
Yeah. So you cannot use Google search for anything on this game. It's not going to help you. You have to go to And if you once you go to their Discord and you see just how many potential game breaking bugs there are, they're like the one I encountered, just becomes very, very hard to recommend. I'm docking it like a full 30 points. I don't care how much I like the base game. It barely gets a passing grade. In fact, I might not even give it that. I'm going to say you fail automatically. You lose 35 points.
That's the saddest thing, is when you have a game that could potentially be really good, it's just too buggy.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a minute. Because the VR adventures continue.
Oh, joy.
So, this game I only played for 40 minutes. Well, I say I played for 40. I didn't play it at all.
Oh, you tried to get it to work for 40 minutes?
Yes. So,
oh, no.
On a whim, I bought Skydance Behemoth because I wanted to have an action game on PC VR, thinking, okay, this is by the Saints and Sinners crew. They had a bit of a janky start with that game. Surely this one won't be bad, right? And it's had plenty of time to get some patches. And so I scooped that, and it was $40. It wasn't cheap. And no matter what I did, every time I would fix one bug, a new bug would pop up. I could not get the female character voice and arms to load. I could not sometimes get any arms to appear once I did get into the game. Arms just go poof, and you can't interact with anything.
No arms?
Yeah, no arms.
Arms are for the weak.
You can't open your menu. You can't interact with anything. You're just a floating camera in the void.
Yes.
Trying to buff the thing through different runtime XLs with the meta runtime instead would cause a just perpetual white screen. And this just happened over and over. Every time I would fix one bug, a new bug would pop up. And I refunded that crap.
Yeah.
Screw that noise.
Too broken.
Yeah, very positive on Steam. Don't care. It's got too many shoes. And I'm not the only one having these shoes. And the only solution seems to be wait for a patch. So you know what? You've gone from me potentially giving you $40 to I might scoop it on sale if you fix everything.
Yeah.
Like several years down the line.
Yeah. I am looking forward to when I can actually get in and try these games. Currently, though, I don't really have a good stand-up and VR space.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to actually create one, but in a storeroom, I'm trying to clean that out and make space in there. But every time I clean it up a little bit and then walk away for a day, I come back and there's more junk in there.
Yeah, I've got a section of my office that the back where the exercise mat is, where I've rolled a wheelie chair to with no arms on it.
Yep.
And so for like the sections where I'm just running around or mounted in Asgard's Wrath 2, I would use the chair. And anytime there was combat, I would stand. There's a quick height recalibration feature in that game at least. You just click the right stick and it recalibrates your height.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's clearly meant to accommodate that type of play. Because, standing up for a 50-hour game is going to murder your legs.
Yep.
So yeah. So Skydance Behemoth was a total no-go. So I got that money back. Or it's coming back. And I was like, well, still I'm hankering for some kind of action game. I guess we'll go back to 2D and flat screen and see what's out. So I used that money to buy Kazan the First Barbarian. Or First Berserker. What it is. The DNF inspired Souls-like. And I picked this specific...
Honestly, everything from this game I've seen looks like it belongs on the cover of a heavy metal album.
Yeah, it looks cool. So the reason I scooped this one, it was on my radar to casually watch, but I wasn't paying super close attention to it. But there's a YouTuber I follow called Iron Pineapple. He does a series called Steam Dumpster Diving, where he just takes viewer recommendations for difficult or Souls-like games on Steam and tries them out. And he's very fair to them and takes into account the type of studio making it. And like the Penguin game in particular has become a bit of a meme on his channel, whereas it's Dark Souls but with penguins and machine guns and lightsabers.
I've seen Dark Souls but with a crab. So that actually wasn't bad.
He demoed that one, and I got another Crab's Treasure because of him too.
It's got the weirdest block mechanic, honestly, because it's kind of backwards from how you'd normally parry attack on that game.
Yeah, you have to hold block and release when hit.
Yeah, rather than the opposite.
Yeah. So he played through the demo on this series. For He dedicated a huge section in his latest video to it, and the game just looked good. And he was praising it the whole time about how good it felt. So I was like, all right, we'll give this a shot. It's something that was on my radar, and I got the money. I can try a brand new. Why not? And so I scooped it. And yeah, the game does feel really good to play. I only am like not even 30 minutes in, but I already like what I've got so far. It has a perfect parry system like Sekiro does. It's got the methodical stamina usage like the Dark Souls series does. The monsters hit hard. You have to think about what you're doing every time you engage an enemy. I'm hoping the boss fights hold up. They look like they do from the previews and the demo we showed. And yeah, I'm excited to sit down and really chew through that one. That's a nice surprise for something that had been on the radar, but I didn't have a whole lot of hopes for. It's set in the Dungeon Fighter Online universe and made by Nexon. So I kind of had a sticker on it of wait till somebody else says something about it and until the reviews come in before I even start considering it. But it actually managed to do okay, it seems so far. And so I'm hoping I'll have a glowing positive review once I have more than 30 minutes into the game and have actually got my teeth sunk into it. But just everything about that game feels good with the attack animations feel so heavy and good to use. I love the power attack with the starter weapons in that game. Do this big long wind up with both your sword and your axe and bring them both down on top of a dude's head. It feels really good to do. So I'll chew into that and get back to you later. Let's see. For video games, I'm skipping the Star Rail stuff, which ate the rest of my video game. Other than to mention, I pulled Caztor and it went much better than WoWo did. WoWo was a total train wreck and disaster, but Caztor.
I was going to say, you're not setting the bar very high there.
Yeah, but I needed it after that because my Jade economy wasn't super great. But
I'm surprised you had any after that disaster.
Barely did. But yeah, so use that and any of the login freebies that I did not count nor pay attention to really, and just went and tried to fish Castrace out, got her out. I actually got Sele out in 20 pulls, and with the new system, I'm like, oh hi, I guess you're gonna send me text messages, and stuck her on the bench, and then went fishing for about 30 more pulls and pulled Castrace out. And by pulled Castrace out, I mean her dragon. Castrace is kind of just an accessory, like Fischl is, an accessory that eats all my health. And I also got a light cone within like 20 pulls. Like, I was golden. Like, oh, I was not expecting that. I was expecting to have to blow all the gems throughout the anniversary and the entire patch cycle, or the entire first half of the patch cycle while our banner's up. But nope, okay, we're good to go. I'd already pre-farmed her, and because of that new preview mechanic where you can see what a character needs ahead of time, had pre-farmed all her stuff, except for her gear. Her gear needs some work. It's perfect yet, but it's good enough. In fact,
she just cleaned me out. Like, all I've got left is the pouch of premium currency that I had when I bought all of the things, because I haven't used it. I've just had a wad of premium currency sitting there.
Yeah,
I whaled and then didn't do anything with the proceeds of my whaling a long time ago, even.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Before Castrace, my account has always been in an awkward position because of the meta chasing the game turned into very quickly. Developers catering.
You also radically picked the wrong metas to chase. You picked the most premium meta, that is follow-up. You picked the most restrictive meta, that is Acheron, and now you've picked the meta where there really is no team for her.
Yeah, so there are two problems with my account, and that I was mono-focused on a few hypercarries, one of which was monomaniacally focused. And this did not give me very good coverage, particularly in the AoE department. That's why I was so gung-ho for pulling for Jade. And when I got Jade, it helped, and helped me bust through quite a few barriers, but I was still stalling out a little bit in Pure Fiction. This cycle was a nightmare. in that I could not get any stars in Memory of Chaos or Pure Fiction casteries. Like I did not have the AoE juice in either one to do it. But Big Dragon with a shoot to whoop laser fixed that up real good. I managed to full star Pure Fiction and 35 out of 36 Memory of Chaos, one turn off from 36 star in it. So I might take another crack in it when I feel like going at it again before it cycles.
Well,
yeah.
once you groom her gear a little bit, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So I'm just using. Oh, it's Trailblazer. That's right. So it's Sunday or Sparkle, depending on if Sunday's needed on the other team. Remember, it's Trailblazer and Wowo, Caster's team. Now, this means that her team completely overlaps with the Gaia's team. So, functionally, Cass and her Shoop to Whoop Dragon are there just for fights that are much more AoE focused, which has been a heavy trend lately. Don't know how long it'll keep going, but for now, it's been a hole in my account, and I finally have a big dragon to deal with it. So that's been working fairly well, because even though she doesn't get anything from Wowo's energy gain, she still can benefit from the attack boost and that big kaboom overheal that she does. Wowo's skill heal is a huge kaboom of healing, and can really help you get that dragon out more. And I had fun using her and watching the shoot dragon just go fire in his laser and then go boom. That worked. So
I haven't been able to get a feel for how much damage it actually does compared to what I'm used to from, say, the Herta, because I've only used it against trash so far, and you don't have much time to get the engine spinning in that context. And I also have no idea how effective my Remembrance Trailblazer is. I don't even know if I've geared her correctly. Like, it never seems to do very much. Like, the bonus damage numbers seem all very small, but I don't even know if that's really what she's for. I can't really tell.
It's the bonus damage is noticeable when it's not up. For me, it's not the end of the world if it's not. I'll just go with the burst rotation without it if it's up and ready to go. But primarily, what I use her for is action event.
Are you going for the mount? Because I don't want to waste my
Once I juice, I will.
my DPS.
Oh, my chicken fell over.
I can't.
I hate fighting Arkfeld in this environment because I can't see a damn thing.
Everything's the same color.
Mount hit one. Mount hit two.
Okay, nice.
Prioritizing. If I can get a wound on the head, I'll get one. But
Get the right weapon out for a knockdown. Get in the right position. Possible. I've always thought that Arkfeld's music sounds like a riff on Duel of the Fates.
I have the sound muted for the stream, so. Burn, you really need to get flinch free if I'm in the party. I can't stop that. Well, I can stop that now, I suppose. Like all my damage. And all my juice.
Switch to a slicing gun and try and get a few shots on the tail. Since your dinky little daggers seem to take an awful long time to cut tails off.
Actually.
Oof.
Yeah. So Cast Racer worked out pretty well in filling a hole in my account. I just did not have any good answers for.
And he's leaving.
He'll be back.
Can we farm that harvest that radar?
Take a
No.
while to fight him. And he'll fly all over the place while we're at it too.
I sincerely doubt it. Otherwise, people. Well, this is an assignment. So.
Yeah, and in other games, the monster's been dead on the field when you started. Even this one, you'd be able to harvest them. Just not that one.
Well, it's not a worthwhile investment of time. If you need radar parts, it is much more efficient to harvest them from an investigation than to just incidentally grab them. It's fine to incidentally grab chicken or something because it's going to lengthen the fight by 2.5 minutes or something. But
he meant the radar
well, I mean,
that was already killed.
The one that was already dead.
The dead one? No, we already tried that. We tried that in when Ari and I did this. It did not work.
Yeah, sadly. Flying poke.
I can't get behind him to shoot at his tail. Every time I get to behind him, he turns around again.
The dunes are probably the worst place to fight.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Ari loves to fight on dunes. It's a huge pain. It's only beneficial to dual blade wielders.
Dual blades and hammers, yeah.
Hammers get a cool slope move too.
Yep, they do. They get the super duper flipper dip.
All over that match.
I haven't contributed to the tail at all because he keeps freaking dodging.
Tails off.
Oh, well, that's no longer a problem. Right, switch back to the other gun. Well, Aristeal ceases to contribute to the fight because that's how he do.
Combat carve. Circuit. Go. Need to sharpen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, him angry.
Oh my goodness, your sacred is a pain in the butt. Why is it always Ari's sacred?
I don't know. I don't even know where mine is.
You can turn off other people's sacred to stop this. I really should do that.
Waffles. About to get you.
He's always like photobombing my camera so that I can't see what's going on in fights. It's like the only thing on my screen is your sacred a lot of the time. He's always standing in front of me striking a pose or whatever it is the sacreds do. Okay, I'm not contributing to this fight at all since Arkfeld's running away from me constantly.
Yeah, I don't know what he was planning on doing, but he's not doing it now. Okay, there we go.
So yeah, and that's all I can really say about Star Rail. Other than we talked about Star Rail World already. Played a little bit of Club and Baby Seals, Bump and Baby Seals. But have not finished that yet. So we'll probably talk about all that. Anime. I watched the second half of ReZero for this quarter. So this set of ReZero releases, I thought it was 3 cores for one season. It's actually 2 cores for one season. Later there will be a another core later. All got vaporized.
We're on our last cart, so
I'm the only person he was interested in, so he decided to one-shot me.
he decided he really didn't like you.
I'm surprised he was able to do that much damage, to be honest. Maybe it's because it's a story one.
Clash. Then poke.
But yeah. So the new season of ReZero is pretty good. It's not as good as season 2, but that's a high bar to live up to. Whatever the last season was, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track.
But it's hard to live up to last season. But we complete the current arc. It does end on a bit of a cliffhanger, but it's not the worst cliffhanger to end on. It's more of a sequel hook or a next season hook than a proper cliffhanger. The story for this season is fully resolved by the end of everything. So that worked out pretty good. And in general, I enjoyed it. Subaru gets to have a whole lot of big dramatic speeches. We finally get to see Amelia do something.
Impossible.
Did we break the right chain blade or not? His right side is always facing away from me, so...
I think we only got the
broke something.
I need a battle bar. You.
Ow.
How is he managing to keep his right side completely... Oh my goodness. I hate you, Arkfeld. You are not like me.
I am so glad I have a shield for that.
Oi! Oi! I finally got some time on target and you left!
Head's broke. Left chain blade's broke. Only.
Where's he going?
Back to the crater. Or he goes. If we're really lucky, he'll go up on top of the cliff with all the crap we can pull.
We've only been that lucky once.
But it is really funny.
A bit longer for that. It is, because he just it's basically Sideshow Bob stepping on the rakes, but
I mean, right where he is now, you can drop a net on him.
As usual, his right side is facing away from me. How does he know?
Oh, he didn't like that. Go on, Arkfeld, you've had enough. Just fall over.
I can bait Arkfeld into attacking me by scratching my nose, IRL.
Yes, they always know. Oh, there he goes.
Most trying to go for the right side, but he kept spinning it away from me.
Why?
I did.
No, he that whole cutscene activated just as I started a power charge, so my character had gone zooming off down the field.
He had places to be, okay?
He's just gone. Arkfeld's finished. I'm going home. Bye.
So yeah, ReZero Season 3 gets a solid recommend. Still really good. Only barely falls behind Season 2, I think. But
I saw some more testimony supporting your point of view. I saw a just random person that got dumped in my feed on Twitter saying I understand what you guys were talking about when you kept telling me to watch ReZero, but now that I've got to about episode 8, it's starting to make sense.
Yeah, season 1's a bit of a slog.
Yeah,
I've watched it maybe the first 2 episodes, and I just couldn't at that point.
it
Yeah, I
eventually.
gave up after 2 episodes as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes a bit to get going, a long bit to get going, but they do a good job of taking those first like 12 to 18, that first mega big intro arc and the follow up arc, and start to weave them more into the narrative so that stuff makes sense in retrospect.
yeah. The fact that Subaru becomes significantly less insufferable as you go along as well.
Yeah, he basically has to grow up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed the last 2 seasons of ReZero. I don't know if they can keep the momentum going throughout the story. He clearly has a plan, because he drops hints and foreshadowing way earlier that he does actually start to pay off and expand on. But like all the way back in the stuff in season 1, like and I just it takes forever to get there when you get that big chunk of season 1 though. But people love that bit for some reason. Like I don't think it gets good until the rejected confession to Ram.
Well, people also like to sort out online, so there's no accounting for taste.
Yeah. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure where they're really on with that, if they just like the shock value of the deaths and while there's still shock value and not used as a narrative device. But yeah, it gets way better. I really, 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 especially season 2, still strongly recommend. It's found a groove in a way of portraying those characters, running those story arcs that just feels really good. Much. So I'm excited for the next season. We'll see what happens there. I have not read ahead to spoil myself. But yeah, this is going to be a long one.
Is it a finished story?
No.
No. Yeah, see, that's another thing that makes me reluctant to start on it, is because if it's one thing that, you put a tax on starting it, you've got to sit through a bunch of dross before you get to the part that's actually good. And then, having done that, I don't have any assurance that it's actually going to pay off in the end, in the long term.
There's a moment in in the first half of the season. I will retract one of my complaints. One of my minor complaints was there's a tertiary story that feels a little contrived with character Garfield. It's like the lasagna cat. That was intentional.
Right.
Where he's a were-tiger.
A very lazy one, I assume.
No, a very hot-headed one. So polar opposite personality to actual Garfield. But I mentioned how his story in the first half of this first core didn't resonate very well with me and felt very contrived. I don't care anymore. They had a big enough emotional payoff at the end that I could overlook all of it. We're in his big final fight for the arc against his particular villain. It's not a notable villain. It's the least significant plot-wise of all the characters, but its animation is very experimental and cool to watch. And the whole time he's fighting through it, and the villain starts respecting him more and more, and drawing more of his weapons. It's like this giant 6-armed demon man. And the more weapons he draws, the more respect he shows his opponent and stuff. And they hit the emotional beats really well. In the final scene of the fight, he's got one of his arms broken, and he's beat to crap and been getting bodied, and he lands in front of a bunch of the children in the city who have evacuated the underground when he busts through a wall. Or gets kicked through a wall in the underground waterways. And they're people that he met before, and some of his family members are down there, and everybody starts cheering him on. Little 16-year-old were-tiger kid is able to beat down this big monster because his friends and family, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the good shit."
That's some good power of friendship shit right there.
Yeah, give me more of that.
You say all that, but as soon as you said, the more weapons he draws, the more he respects his opponent. He's a 6-armed demon guy, and I'm like, so he's Greg.
Yeah, basically he's Greg. But
that's all I can think of now is he's fighting Greg.
Yeah, and Amelia and Subaru's fight at the end of it, where Amelia actually gets to do something, is okay. The villain is particularly slimy, and You see a little bit more.
Deserves everything he gets.
Yeah, deserves absolutely everything he gets. And Subaru's basically no match for him. Him and Amelia together are no match for him. Subaru can't really fight. He can barely defend himself against common thugs and bandits, and even then he's likely to lose.
He can save spam. That's his thing.
Yeah. So he can't win, and they need to win. And Amelia is a okay strong ice mage, but she's not anywhere near the power hitters of the franchise in the setting. So their whole fight is just stalling for time with this arrogant slime ball. And while one of the power hitters makes their way back to him to finish the fight. And it ends in a very, very fun way. But I liked the only story arc that clearly has more to tell that I'm not on board with immediately is the one with Reinhardt's family. Reinhardt is the strongest character in the setting, period, end. And the author has gone out of his way to say that the reason Reinhardt doesn't solve every problem in the narrative is because he's solving other bigger problems somewhere else. So, but
you can't Deus Ex Machina in two places at the same time.
Yeah, so Reinhardt's actually here in the city where all the events are happening with, and can participate in some of the conflicts, but he still, there's only one Reinhardt, and there's like 5 different final battles going on across the city. So Reinhardt can't be everywhere. And his personal story involves his family. This one clearly setting up for something later, and paying off a little bit of the grandpa Reinhardt, who is kind of like an old man best friend to Subaru. After some stuff they go through together at the end of season 1. But that story kind of, it just doesn't have quite the right pacing to hit as emotionally as it should, I think. It probably would if I watched Core 1 and Core 2 back to back, would do much better, because all the setup for it is in Core 1. But because I did not do that, it didn't hit as hard as I think it should have, and it's still clearly holding back stuff for later. So, but other than that, I don't really have any major complaints. There is no moment that tops the Subaru and Beatrice from the first, or from the second season. That is just a absolutely amazing scene that will not probably ever be topped for the remainder of the show's run. But that's okay. As long as it can still keep this level of quality up, we're in for a good ride. The first episode of the first core, though, is a freaking 1.5-hour long movie.
Not even a good one.
Oh no, I mean this season. Yeah. Season 3 starts with a the whole introduction.
Because the first one also had a massive first episode, didn't it?
Yeah, they like their big long opener episode. The setup episode, they basically cram all of the setup of this new city, the immediate characters you'll be getting to know, into this 1.5-hour long episode, and just do it all at once so that you can just get it out of the way. But it is basically a movie of setup. So slightly awkward, but it's serviceable. It works. It's just 3 or 4 episodes back to back and treated as one episode. But it is long, and when you look at the runtime, you're like, oh, I need to settle down for this one. So that's the ReZero report, and that covers all the stuff that I can drone on about. So I think I've covered the week section as well.
All right, shall we take a quick look at this email then?
Yeah. If fall's good, we can skip the break. Power through until.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom while you guys are talking, so.
Okay. So Vol, I'll let you.
All right, I'll attempt to do so. Dear No Excuses. So it has come to this. We finally have a release year for Silksong. It's highly likely that Deltarune is beating it even. But upon reading the comments on the PC Gamer article, several mentioned that Hollow Knight is not that hot anyway, and games like Axiom Verge are better. Since Axiom Verge was on sale, I bought both games and decided to verify this claim. I'm probably nearing the end of AV1, and I must ask, what were those guys smoking? It's not a bad game, but nowhere near Hollow Knight. Maybe I'm not a sucker for the 16-bit retro style, and because there is no fast travel. With the patch, I have successfully got Ryan May, Caztor, and Caztor's light cone. Much to my surprise, the ideal support for her is Mighty of all people. Sunday and Ryan May, and even Memberberry's Trailblazers seem to be actively detrimental to her playstyle. I can still make it work, but it might just be a little suboptimal. Also, going from Caztor's animated short to Little Miss Phantom Kitty was such whiplash that the only time I can remember having such a mood shift was in Crosscode. After the big revelation in the swamp area, you get thrown into a duel with the resident comedy relief character. I did not feel relieved by his antics. And finally, since Axiom Verge didn't beat Hollow Knight, Curseworn is still TBA. I'm checking out the demo for Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree, shouting it out because it's a Hungarian game, much to my surprise. Serithus.
Nice.
All right. So
Incidentally, on that last note, I was actually surprised to learn that the current new hotness Solution 1 is apparently Australian.
yeah,
But right, Axiom and Verge and Hollow Knight.
All right,
I've
so-
looked at Axiom Verge, and it looks like it's trying to ape a lot of the old school Metroid kind of feel.
so it is and is not at the same time. So
Right.
I've talked about these games before. I've completed 100% Axiom, and I have finished Axiom. Axiom Verge 1 is a great game, I think. I don't think it's as good as Hollow Knight, but I do think it is a very solid and good game. I can easily recommend it to fans of the genre, and even like that are familiar with the genre and want something with a bit more novel of a way to experiment with the genre and see what kind of new power-ups and ways of traversing you can come up with, because some of the solutions they have for map traversal, especially later in the game, are very creative compared to the standard Metroidvania fare. So I really enjoyed the first game. I think it's a ton of fun and an easy recommend. The second game is trash.
Oh.
If you have not installed it, my honest recommendation to you is refund it.
Just don't.
Yeah, just don't. The story's terrible. The gameplay's terrible. It's awful.
Ugh.
How did they manage to drop the ball? Like, what did they change so dramatically that they were able to go from very good to very miserable?
The main gameplay and combat loop of the first game based around a gun that is fun to use, and the exploration is interesting with fun maps and interesting power-ups. The second game is just frustrating with the obtuse of its power-ups and the way you figure stuff out. And the character's combat is melee-based. In the enemies are clearly designed to be fought. The Axiom Verge design document was still in play when the enemies were designed, we'll say. And the game can be trivialized so easily. And also, I do recall there being some fast travel in Axiom Verge 1. I think it just takes a while to unlock it. And that's fine. It makes you less encouraged to go run all the way across the map and OCD backtrack like I like to do. So I was actually fine with that. Because it kept me moving forward when that was the more time optimal thing to do. But yeah, I do not even remember the specifics of what made me hate Axiom Verge 2 so much, but it just to this day is the worst Metroidvania I played of the modern.
That's saying something. There's some really terrible Metroidvanias out there.
I do not remember the specifics of the combat, but I remember hating every of it. It was it is of the modern Metroidvanias the worst one.
Oof.
Like from the ones released Hollow Knight and onward.
Yeah. So comparing it to Hollow Knight, honestly, I think it's just a new flavor. Well, not even a new flavor. The same flavor of copium that people have been huffing on the Hollow Knight community for a while now.
Axiom Verge isn't trying to eat Hollow Knight's lunch. Totally different animal. For the way it does its exploration and the way it does its like all that it has is a map system and backtracking to make them nominally the same genre. But
beyond that,
keep going with Axiom Verge 1. It's a great experience, I found. Axiom Verge 2, hot garbage.
Yeah. Actually, if you want something to scratch the itch, Dead Cells. I really like Dead Cells.
Dead Cells is okay. The problem problem I have with Dead Cells is roguelike. Because when I play a
Yeah.
Metroidvania, I'm playing it to have basically a checklist go through that I can and to try and find all the secrets without a guide and and get some kind of map complete going here. A roguelike by its nature has no such. It may have a limited amount of secrets you can find on certain tile sets that just require you to run it over and over again, but it's a very different style of thing. And just that nature as a roguelike, I don't think gels with the typical Metroidvania style of doing stuff.
Yeah.
I just
So fun game.
yeah, it's fine. It's
Um,
just it's not hitting the same notes. So
No.
because I know a lot of people
People.
that don't like the Metroidvania subgenre love Dead Cells.
Yeah. That said, also don't get attached to that release year.
Oh yeah, like if you go to the Silksong Reddit right now, it is firmly split between they have user flares for several months now of people who can tag themselves as believers and doubters,
Yeah.
and they are just at war with each other over this being it's totally gonna happen, guys. But apparently, Team
It's all
Cherry
this
did finally start responding to the original Kickstarter messages again.
gasp.
So yeah, what really
Yeah, but do they respond with an explanation for what the hell they've been doing all this time?
no.
Or was this just a case of, hey, we're not dead?
Because frankly, I don't think it's going to be released, and I'm not going to start thinking it's going to be released until they can provide some explanation for where they've been.
Yeah, it's really baffling to me how Team Cherry went from riding high, able to drop high quality, big content patches for free for Hollow Knight. On the regular, we got like 4 or 5 major title updates to that game that just dramatically expanded its content. And then they just went radio silent for 5 years, supposedly working on Silksong.
Is this going to turn out to be one of those situations where half the team tuned out?
Oh, they are in the big city in Australia, so
They are in
Well,
Melbourne. Yeah.
they're not in the big city so much as they're in the San Francisco of Melbourne.
yeah.
The anus of, if you will.
Yeah, I don't doubt that the Koof stuff interfered with it to some degree, but yeah, there's something else going
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a grant involved, which let the local government get their sticky little fingers into the project.
Yeah, who knows? I'll be very curious if any of that comes out, if the game ever
Well,
comes
the
out.
thing is, if it wasn't shameful, they could just say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was
Uh,
there was almost something internal because Team Cherry was not a big group of people.
There's only like 5 people at the time they did Hollow Knight, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was three main dudes and a few contractors and like 2 alternates they would bring.
Yeah.
So Team Cherry
Not many people at all.
no. So yeah, I don't know what has happened to them. I'm still not convinced it's coming out in 2025. I want to know a proper progress update and have them start communicating again before I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still at the stage of it'll be nice if it comes out and I hope it's good, but I ain't holding my breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even if it does come out, I have very little confidence it'll be worth playing.
So
Because there's the bottled lightning has long since escaped at this point.
about the only explanation that really I would accept for their radio silence was we cocked up so bad we had to burn the whole game down and build it up from scratch.
Well, we already know they've done that once when they went from expansion to full game.
Well, yeah, the Silksong was originally just going to be and you could play through Hollow Knight as Hornet.
Yeah, with a bit of extra content on the side.
Yeah, and that was it. It was going to be an alternate playable character, but yeah, they decided to just game, and we do not know what the heck is going on with this.
Yep.
They all tuning out. I mean, it seems to be the way indies break down these days.
They make something fantastic and it goes to their heads half the time.
Oh no, it's
No,
well,
no, it's they tune out. It's like they become obsessed with gender politics, and that overtakes
Yes.
their lives, and then they stop doing any work.
Yes. So anyway, yeah, I'm not going to believe that game's going to come out until I'm sitting and playing it, and even then, maybe not.
yeah. I too am looking forward to Crowsworn. It looks really good. And you
I've
pretty
not even
much
heard anything about this.
covered all the stuff with Shoot the Whoop Dragon that me and Ball talked about earlier with Star Rail. So thank you for the email, Sarathus. We will have story discussion stuff next week.
Indeed. All right. As for news, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to shift through a lot of the Nintendo stuff because, oh boy, the spurging out.
Yeah, it's a hot mess. Not
Apparently, Nintendo did put out a statement, and it basically boiled down to, if I hear about it third hand anyway, if you can't afford it, buy the Switch One.
yeah, that's pretty typical for a Japanese company. Well, might be a little more on the
Well-
nose than usual.
Microsoft did exactly the same thing a few years back, if you recall.
But we got these barrel bomb.
So
Oh,
honestly, it fits too neat a narrative to for me to believe that's what was actually said. So I'm probably going to try find some time during the next week to actually see what's going on. Beyond that, another big game launched this week, and nobody bought it, which was South of Midnight.
Yeah, the latest big indie bomb. Well, not
Yeah.
indie. I don't think it's indie. I can't tell if it's indie or not. It's styled to look indie with probably got a mountain of dosh behind it.
Well, it's got Sweet Baby behind it, is what it's got.
Yeah. They're
No.
made of dollars.
Yes. Oops, have I run out of mega potions and did not restock? I think that is the case. I am the dums. I honestly, this game, the premise I liked, like the kind of the core idea is going on behind all this Bayou storytelling and all of those sorts of folklore. It's not something that you see often, and
Well, it's exotic to us. It's probably not exotic to Aristotle.
probably not so much.
Oh, Cajun stuff? Yeah, no. We you ever been? I've spent a goodly bit of time in Louisiana on church trips. We got to know the Cajuns. Well, I say that we got to meet the Cajuns, interact with them, and eat their food. I cannot tell you a word they said.
Yeah, like they speak Southern, but it's not the same dialect of Southern as everybody else.
They are surprisingly able to integrate with the South fairly well, though.
Nobody can
Well,
understand what the
I think
people in the South
I
are
think it's
saying either.
largely because the amount of respect that people in the South have for food is so disproportionately high that it sort of makes up for the fact that they're completely incomprehensible.
Yeah, and they're just hardworking, good old boys for the most part that live on the bayous and the lakes and the rivers and the.
So that's it. They talk the common language of damn good food.
Yeah, they just they're good old boys that make good food.
So
Could he just leave me
yeah,
alone? My goodness.
honestly, I'd even give them the benefit of the doubt for their race swapping of the main characters, since their original version looked like there was an escapee from a San Francisco university. But yeah, no one had high hopes for this game, and it's broke maybe 1,000 people playing it at the absolute peak on Steam.
I barely remember the name.
South of Midnight, yes. And it was made by Compulsion, who I recall playing some of their stuff in the past, and it wasn't all that bad.
That name was definitely designed to sound arty.
Oh yeah, it was. What else have they made? Games. I know they've done some Google, that is not what I wanted to search. Why are you answering questions I didn't ask? There we are. Yes, they call them. They say they're the creators of hallucinatory adventures. Yes.
I'm completely drawing
and,
slicing ammo. You're on your own RSTL.
their website is terribly, terribly designed. Oh boy. I can't even read this. Oh, that's right. It's the We Happy Few people.
What happened with
That-
that? Like, it got a lot of hype, but nobody seemed to have anything nice to say about the actual game.
In the end, it was okay, but really it wasn't good. The theming and all the narrative and everything behind it was actually really, really good, but then you actually started to play the game and their whole
The
procedurally
substance there.
generated world thing just didn't hold together all that well at all. So yeah, more good idea. Another game with good ideas but terrible execution. Also, god awful scope creep. Like the worst scope. You know what? I am just gonna, while Rathian's playing there, I'm gonna go and actually get some potions. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get bodied. So yeah, it's the usual cycle we get. Game comes out, game flops, the cope begins. Honestly, it's a loop that's happened so frequently at this point, it's just not even funny anymore. So that's that. There's not even really all that much more to say about it. It's just that.
I barely remember the name, so obviously I didn't follow the.
No wheeze.
No, I went flying.
I know. But honestly, this game, when it was first announced, I watched that first trailer and I was like, okay, this is cool, this is new, this is interesting. And then I saw what they were originally going to have as the main character, and my interest is immediately evaporated. Because they announced it, what, 3 years ago now? So, yeah. Incidentally, there was the Indie E3, or the Triple I, as they call it, that played this week. And it wasn't actually all that bad. There wasn't anything in there I'd call immediately terribly woke.
Tails off.
Which was a nice change. Yeah, it landed on me.
Grief, that took a while.
Yeah.
I guess it probably only takes white damage, right?
Yeah, it only takes white damage and it's way high up in the air most of the time. Barely have uptime on this.
I blew my entire supply of slashing ammo on it and then had to give up because it didn't come off.
That's just how Gravios do.
Got it.
So yeah, there's some good games shown on Triple I, so if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Like I said, nothing outrageously woke. There was a bit few in there I'd definitely call as Oscar bait, though. Because there's always at least one. But that said, you know how these things go. They might look fine until you actually get them launched.
And then the minigame character has revitiligo.
For no apparent reason. Is there a chill bug? Yes, there is.
Hang out with Vol and hope it comes down here.
Whee! All right. Any other news nuggets you guys saw?
I did not see anything really stood out to me. All stuff this week was a little bit more plugged in than normal, but nothing gaming wise jumped.
Yeah. yeah, just so much about this Nintendo situation. It's just drowning out everything else at the moment.
Well, I mean, it is supposed to, like, a new console release is supposed to be a big deal, and it seems like they've sort of fumbled the announcement, but there's nothing really that remarkable about that, to be totally honest.
No, honestly, no. It seems like every time a new console is announced, they just completely drop the ball with their own messaging.
What happened to the good old days of my body is ready?
Reggie left. Although Reggie did make a comment about the selling of the tech demo game. You know, the one that's normally free. He's not impressed with that.
Yeah, I think the rumor for a long time was that Wii Sports was supposed to be a paid-for game at launch and wasn't going to be included with every Wii, but Reggie made the big push. That's what the story says, anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I
thing
mean,
is,
that made that whole console.
Yeah,
it
Like,
did.
regardless of what other games you might or might not like on that, it became a phenomenon because of that.
Yeah.
it definitely gave it a lot of sticking power, and it was 100% the right move.
But selling what is essentially the console tour for $10, just no.
That is so particularly slimy. It's hard to process that they actually.
Doug Bowser came from EA. Can you tell? So yeah. Honestly, I appreciate the joke they made when he first came on board, where he came out and was talking alongside Bowser for a bit. But honestly, I'd rather Bowser himself actually ran the company. It might be slightly less evil.
Well, Bowser's only real fault as an individual is that he's a raging simp.
He is the simpiest of simps, and he's also kind of thick.
Well, yes, that's why he continues to simp.
Yes, because he just doesn't learn. Although, honestly, Miyamoto's explanation that that they're not really doing this, they're just actors on a stage, also kind of holds a lot of water.
Literally the case in Paper Mario.
And Super Mario 2.
I thought that was a
So-
dream.
No, that was the Western release. Oh, shit, hang on. I'm trying to remember the old Mario games. One of them, they were literally on a stage, though.
Well, they were on stages at the levels in Mario 2, but at the end it was like all a dream in Mario's head or something.
Yeah, that game doesn't actually exist, so let's go with all that. Hack! Why?
Thanks.
Apparently. Oops, I have not contributed much to this fight at all.
Gravios heavy bowgun is so retarded. It's literally a Gravios's head with a barrel sticking out of it.
Honestly, I kind of like those great bow guns because they're just so dumb. Weapons like that in general. I mean, if you recall, the Glavius longsword is just Glavius's tail.
Well, it makes sense. His tail's a sword.
His tail is a sword, so it's just saving time. You just put it on a stick and you call it good.
He even is very diligent to keep it sharp.
He is excellent at sword maintenance, butt sword maintenance. All right, if that was it, let me quickly just have a quick look at the news sites and see if there was anything else of note.
Unless I just am totally brain farting on it. I did not see.
I wasn't too much of a illness-induced haze to perceive anything.
See, we've talked about the ZZZ stuff. And nope, that's it. There has actually been very little to come out of note this week.
Wait, they're releasing a Last of Us again?
Yeah,
How many
Except
times do they
that-
plan to release that game?
Oh, they're just going to keep doing it until people stop buying it.
They went to
But-
the Bethesda School of Marketing, did they?
Yes. There is honestly that little hype behind the remake the sequel re-release. There we go. That honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if people completely forget about it because nobody liked the sequel.
Yeah.
There were lots of people who defended it.
There were people who defended it, but did they actually like it?
They
Or more to the point, did they
play
actually play it?
it. They actually buy it.
Yeah, you see that a fair bit actually nowadays. It's like, oh, I won't buy it, and the game was
Well, it's-
terrible, but I'll defend it.
It's being defended by the people it was made for. I don't know whether or not they care the fact that the people it was made for don't buy video games.
Yes.
Fudge the
Yeah, at
sales
least-
numbers and you'll get more investor dollars.
I really hope that that's starting to dry up.
It won't. Like
Sadly.
you're not killing investor culture without a total economic restructuring and collapse.
Yeah.
It's too ingrained. I don't think you can rip that one out by the root.
Well, it's coming. All the hedge funds are ridiculously over leveraged for the situation that's been introduced by the US tariff project.
Oh man, that was
So,
that was hilarious on Thursday when he's like, "Okay, all the countries that talk to me are now at the lowest rate, except for China." Watching the market
You guys are
people,
going up.
watching the market people tear their hair out because they didn't see this coming and their super genius brains was the funniest crap on the planet.
do they realize that Donald Trump wrote a book about this?
Yeah,
His
I've used-
deal making strategy? Like, if people are having so much trouble understanding Donald Trump's behavior, they could just buy his book.
yeah,
Go to the library.
I've used that exact same line multiple times whenever he comes up and says something totally harebrained or makes some ridiculous demand. I'm like, yeah, he wrote a book about this. He probably has other objectives he wants to accomplish with this, all of which are less than the ridiculous ask he's putting up front. He does this
The
all
usual
the
lip
time.
the usual lip shit response is that he didn't write it. And I'm like, well, yeah, rich people don't write their books. However, it's still your fault for not reading it.
Yeah, and it kind of was the central premise of the book, which he had to okay, presumably, given that his face and name were plastered on the thing.
Oh dear, oh dear. So yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm a
honestly-
millennial. I've got no assets. I don't care. The whole
I know.
world can go to pot.
We
But
are
the value of my
as
assets doesn't
millennials,
matter to me.
Yeah, as millennials, we have absolutely zero stake in the game because we all bulk.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
the boomers can get as upset as they want. We don't see any of their garbage.
So,
Like-
oh no, the value of your portfolio has reduced to where it was this time last year.
Oh no.
I know.
Perhaps you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Meanwhile, I'm waiting for my
Maybe get a
next
job
pay-
at
paycheck to
fast
pay
food
bills.
outlet. You'll be manager in no time.
Should
Eh.
get your butt back to church instead of worshiping the almighty line. Line that can never ever go down. Pray that it always continues to rise. It always shall, as so your good economic book says. It really is like a religion for these. The line must always
just-
go up.
I'm always just happy to see people in fancy suits running around screaming.
That would be the boomers. Very few people younger or born after 1970 are the ones up at the top of them businesses.
Yeah. Anywho, Vol's Discord seems to be catching fire, so let us wrap up. Actually, on time for a change, or slightly early, actually.
I almost made it through the show without having to do the obligatory pick a different server switch. So
Hello, pickle.
pickle.
Oh, there it is. Is it working?
Yep. Switched it again.
All right.
I don't know what it is about. It doesn't seem to matter what server we start on or what server we go to.
Yeah, no. It just is the tubes get gummed up for one of us.
And it's random.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at least the fix is quick now, but it's still odd. And we didn't used to have this problem.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know. Maybe
well-
they're cheaping out on their traffic. Well, I think
Look-
I think that Discord is one of those things, much like Google and Twitter, and that basically doesn't make any money.
Yep.
They're,
I think they want us to buy Nitro so we can get the higher bitrate channels, but
I'm not
honestly, I can't see the reason why I'd want to buy Nitro.
like if
I would buy Nitro if it was cheap and the only things it gave me were things that were actually useful, like higher bitrate streaming and higher bitrate channels and that, the things I actually want. I don't want all of their tat, and therefore I'm not going to pay for their tat because
Aside
they
from
just want a
the,
large premium sum for no
Yes.
value, as far as I'm concerned.
and
and
Discord
aside from a couple of handy little bits, it's all tat.
and Discord prominently as a company crosses the terminally woke threshold where that is enough to stop me from buying an umbrella.
Yeah, well, I expect that eventually they're going to pull the trigger on something retarded and turn into Blue Sky. So
Yeah.
like
So
a
far, for the most
yes.
part, that stuff has stayed out of their actual app. So
You know,
it's going to be a freaking CP exchange center by the time
oof.
they're done.
I see Blue Sky in particular as a nice blessing in disguise. It may look like just a hive of
Scum
pedo-
and villainy.
yeah, scum, villainy, and pedophiles, but it also acts.
It's
The
like a
new.
heat sink.
It's like Tumblr was back in the day. It was where Tumblr was a containment board for the worst of it.
So now we need to do is just get people to completely ignore it.
It also is incredibly easy
Well,
now.
I don't want people to completely ignore. I want everybody there to be arrested because they've all got CP on their hard drives.
Yeah, like the fastest way for me to unsub and stop following somebody is if they link a Blue Sky.
Yeah, just nope.
It's a mess.
Yeah, if you don't want to use Twitter, that's fine. Just don't go to that one.
Yeah. Well, the people that got booted off of Twitter and are too fragile to speak on Twitter are all the worst of humanity. Relatively open now, especially compared to the other options.
It's still a dumpster fire, but it's more of an even-handed dumpster fire now.
Yeah, and that's not okay with the worst of society. They can't
Yeah.
exist without the systems to give them artificial help.
Speaking of Richard Hymes of Scum and Villainy, I asked and you didn't respond a while back.
I do
Caztor,
remember.
if the farms had any opinion about FF14.
They were
Because
when you
the
asked
shills
that,
were all saying, "Oh yeah, this new story is they are turning the corner. They have found their feet again, etc., etc."
a bunch of people were shitting up the thread by having a spurg fit, so that's why I didn't respond and I just forgot about it.
Yeah, I did see one or two things come across my feed, thinking, proposing that Firin was going to become the new Scion. I don't know what that's about, but please no.
We need to leave everything in this expansion behind and move on.
Yeah, there is nothing salvageable here.
Unless it's
like,
Otto, I don't want to know.
We went to the New World, and now we have to do the opposite of what the colonizers in America did, and just pick up all our stuff and leave and never return.
Yes. No, just screw this. We're going home.
Yeah, even if you for some reason can make a coherent argument about some narrative justification for why this character is fine, it's tied to this area and the bad blood with it.
Yeah,
it needs to
everybody only remembers what a miserable experience it was. Every time Werk Lamart's heinous face appears on screen, people get upset.
Yeah, and not
even if you suddenly made her into a really great character, that wouldn't erase everything else.
It's
The damage is done.
There's too much bad blood with this. You need. But yeah, I did not want to go through the current spurg fit going on in that thread. So
Yeah,
I was letting them duke it out and intended to check back later. I have not checked back later. I forgot about it.
Honestly, even if they gave Wooklamat the Traherne treatment at this point, I don't think it'd be forgiven.
One of the mods will probably go through and do some autistic Thunderdome post moving
Thing.
Well, they literally have a board called the Autistic Thunderdome, where they just take all the disruptive and stupid fights like this and just cut them out of threads and then transplant them into the Autistic Thunderdome to keep the threads on topic.
You guys just go fight it out over there.
Do they go there and fight it out, or do they realize they've been rumbled and stop?
It depends on the thread. But yeah, these about 3 or 4 idiots were going at each other in the thread, and give it about a week, and there'll be a highlight feature I can use to go through, and somebody will have done the highlights.
Doesn't the new zone pop up next week?
The exploratory zone, maybe. I'm not really in the mood to jump into it right now.
Yeah, I literally unsubbed.
You let
I'm
it go.
Not feeling it. Not feeling it. I don't
Yeah.
care about my house. If it all gets scrapped, too bad. They didn't earn the right to my money. I'm sorry. End of story.
Yeah.
They failed me in a big way.
This is the make or break point for me. If that new zone is terrible, I'm out.
Yeah, that's the only reason I've kept my sub up at the moment is because I want to see that new zone.
I haven't even done the new. I still haven't done the last patch's story, and I have not done any of the new raid series or anything. I've been playing mostly single player games instead.
Yeah, it's honestly been kind of nice. I don't think I wasted my time with Final Fantasy like I do with now with WoW.
I don't.
You know, back in the classic days, I think it was still had a whole lot more value. But the later years, yeah, I feel like I wasted that time.
I don't.
Yeah, because the WoW basically became a collecting things simulator. And
Yes.
so if the accrual loses value to you, then to a certain extent the experience will also lose value proportional to how much of it was about the process of collecting and how much of it was about the memories that you generated doing whatever type of progression you were doing. If you weren't doing progression, then it was definitely a waste because you don't really have any kind of way of generating experiences. But
it's also degenerated at this point to a very, very short loop.
Yeah.
Where it's new patch launches, you go do new content, you farm whatever your chosen content is to get the next set of gear, and then wait for the next patch.
WoW did not do anything in particular that made its time valuable that I spent in it. It was a medium for interactions and experiences with other human beings. Is where the value from WoW I get comes. The game itself has jack all to do with what I actually have taken away from my time playing WoW. It was just the medium we used, and if any other game had become popular in place, similar experiences would have grown out of it. But yeah, WoW just your life is better without that video game.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people out there who tell exactly the same sorts of stories from Guild Wars 1.
It's the real value in those type of games is the people you meet and the interactions you go through and the experiences you have. The MMOs are very good at facilitating that, and that's why I like MMOs and like to have one as a home game to just turn on when I don't have any other game that I'm really jumping at the bit to play. And they're my go-to fallback, but there just isn't.
Yeah. It doesn't look like there's any particularly in the pipeline either. Like you've got
there won't be
the
market
for creation, and that's about it.
Yeah, I don't think the
MMOs don't make money. MMOs don't make money anymore. Like that's the thing. It's
that's the problem. Yeah.
The games as a service and the purchasing things from shop make money. Gacha makes money. These money making strategies are the ways that people are wanting to invest their capital these days, not the classic MMO structure. Like the classic MMO structure's value at the present day exists in what it means as an IP. Like the Final Fantasy 14 IP is worth a lot. The World of Warcraft IP is worth a lot because of the fact that it can drive eyes to the title, to the product, to the company. But in terms of the actual takings, while I'm sure they are great because there's plenty of people still signed up, that's not really That's small potatoes compared to what you're going to see on Sensor Tower every month for the big gacha titles.
Not 10 million plus per crazy profits that
Yeah.
that's it's the myth of infinite growth. MMOs have plateaued in the amount of money they can make. They will still make a positive revenue probably if you make a competent one, but it will not be as much as other options or just live service in general. So the investors are going to go for the companies and urge them.
Yeah. Actually, the only really noteworthy MMO coming down the pipeline at the moment is Shipper Heroes, because that one is purely a passion project and
Yeah.
nothing more.
That's the other thing is getting the really do need to have some ground capital or a whole mess of investors and a lot of ground capital to get off the ground because the network architecture is set up. You have to get the netcode for that thing running and the servers up and running and keep a team constantly staffed to maintain it after it's launched. And you got to get stuff set in the pipeline and constantly in development even after launch. Like all that crap costs a colossal amount of money. And it's just with the exorbitant increase in costs for salaries and game development these days, it's really, really difficult to justify to a company with investors that you can make this pay off enough that they'll go
if you
for
would
it.
stop installing the server farm in LA,
that would be that would be step one, yes.
Or Austin, or pick your major city hub. But yeah, especially
it's
LA.
always Austin or LA or Toronto.
The problem is because of the way that the global internet infrastructure is those are pretty much the most central points.
Well, I mean, Nebraska ain't too far from Austin. Why can't we use there? There's nothing in Nebraska.
There is nothing in Nebraska.
Don't they have like a population of like 400,000 or something?
Yeah, it's itty bitty, and like they're like the only state that has a big enough Indian reservation to matter. And Nebraska is about just a little bit smaller than Georgia. You could totally just turn that whole state into a server farm.
And no one would notice.
And you'd still have plenty of open farmland if you moved every server in the world to Nebraska.
Got to just put in a much chunkier internet data line through there, and you're good to go.
It would be great, but no, we got to stick it in LA. Got to stick it in Austin. You know, the places where it's way too expensive to do anything. I would have said you could stick it in Georgia before for the last like 7 or 8 years.
Honestly, if you wanted to make a globally central server farm, you'd put it in like Tokyo or Singapore or something.
No matter where you stick it, it's going to be far away from a population center.
Yeah.
To hit most of the Western world, Nebraska might be about the middle spot. We count Europe all the way to Australia.
Yeah, if you count
maybe
Europe
there'll be
Australia, that brings it back to Singapore.
Maybe there'll be sometime in the near future a next-gen Starlink that will make it all a moot point where you put it.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice, and it is probably going to happen at some point.
Probably happen in our lifetime, but and I don't. Probably it's got to be at least a decade or two.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the next big tech jump.
Only reason I say it's going to be that long is because I think the hate boner for Musk is going to make people not want to do the same things as him.
Hasn't that been a circus?
But the thing is that they don't hate anything about Musk. They just hate Musk because they've been told to.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
Yeah. So it's a mess. All right.
It is an absolute
mess. I'm not even convinced that any of them actually hate him so much as they want to be seen to hate him by other people who think that you should be seen to hate him.
Well, that knock-on effect of following the crowd will make people believe that they genuinely hate him, even if they have no reason to. Like the Bill Maher thing he said after he went to the White House because Kid Rock asked Trump to talk to Bill Maher. Like, I didn't know what to do. He acted like a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
Yeah, we didn't elect Monster president to be president. We
Well,
elected another
He
human.
was expecting like goose stepping, toothbrush moustache, you know.
Yeah.
No, showed
They're
up.
expecting this cartoon character that had been built in their heads.
He showed up. He was super personable. He didn't interrupt me when I was talking, and he was able to laugh at himself. And this totally not what I thought. I'm like, yeah,
What?
no, dummy.
Why would
Duh.
anybody be surprised at Trump laughing at himself?
Dude
Was
knows
it with
he's a meme.
all of his SNL jokes were about himself, weren't they?
Yes,
Pretty much, yeah.
And he was on SNL for years.
he has such a he may have a big ego, but that comes to a point where it gets so big you can't have one that big without being self-aware.
Yeah, you can't put the words Trump in giant golden letters on top of a building and not
Yeah.
not have it be at least a little bit tongue in cheek.
You either laugh at yourself or you get crushed under the weight of your own ginormous head.
So yeah. All right. We can probably end the show actually on time for once.
Let's
Yep,
just close it
let's
out.
do that.
All right, folks. Plenty of stuff you can write us about if any of that stuff interested you. Me and Vol will cover the Star Rail story next week. Hopefully, I remember it.
It's Easter next week too.
I have no idea what's going to happen to my work week because we work through Easter, and the audit is happening Easter week, and then corrective actions following the audit after that. Like my next couple of weeks, either I'm going to have a lot of free time, or I will have zero free time, or more likely both will somehow simultaneously be true. I will have a lot of free time and a ton of stuff to do, and I just sort of can't do it.
I can hurry
Yeah,
up and wait
that-
mode.
Yeah, that sounds like the likely outcome. Because it's the most
Corpo culture,
inconvenient
bruh.
outcome.
Yeah, I know hurry up and wait mode all too well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks.
So I'm going to be desperate to close the thing out, but I can't actually do anything until like the boom drops on the post audit report. But everybody's going to go on freaking holiday immediately afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yep. See how it work. Also, this week it was. I think they had enough guys, so they didn't call me in. But my church is moving this week. We finally got that. They're moving into the new building today and having the first service over there tomorrow. That's maybe eating my time if they need more hands throughout the weekends, especially since they're coming in right before Easter. We'll have to see how all that goes. I don't think it will eat into my week for Showtime next week, but if I have to post out, well, that's why.
We'll rearrange things on the fly. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we may have to do some shuffling. So, all right then. Okay, folks. We will see you next week, hopefully. Sayonara. Bye-bye.